the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326 Waiting for You for 10 years. People admire him. The cool girl wanted to act coquettishly, but there was no expression of coquettishness on her cool little face, not to mention how weird it was. Admire him? Lin Yi curled his lips and wanted to laugh, but I'm sorry, I really don't know him. But I don't think you seem to admire him. You are a girl, running to the blue town, saying that you admire the leader of the water blue gang. Do you think your words are credible? The cool girl's expression froze slightly, but her cool little face didn't show much. Of course. What else do you think? What else do you think? Lin Yi snorted. The Mitsubishi commercial vehicle behind us has been following us for a long time. Do you recognize it? Mitsubishi commercial vehicle. The cool girl was slightly stunned and turned to look behind her, but when she turned around, a somewhat indignant expression appeared on her face, which disappeared in a flash and returned to normal. I don't know it. Don't know him? Fine, then, let's get rid of him. Lin Yi suddenly shifted gears and accelerated. The old Santana roared and sped off like a wild horse, leaving the Mitsubishi commercial vehicle behind him a long distance away. Then Lin Yi started taking side roads, turning left and right. Before the commercial vehicle could catch up, he turned onto a side road again and, in a few turns, he had left the commercial vehicle out of sight. The cool chick watched in amazement as Lin Yi shifted gears and accelerated, skillfully maneuvering the car. A look of shock crossed her cool face. How come you're such a good driver? You have so many questions. Ever since you got in the car, you've been asking questions non-stop. What exactly are you doing? Lin Yi no longer had the patience to waste time with this cool chick. She looked familiar, and being Asian, he had considered giving her a ride, but Lin Yi didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Asking such inexplicable questions definitely meant she wasn't just here for a trip. And with a car following behind, he didn't want to have any more contact with this cool chick. Who are you? You're not a member of the Blue Water Gang. Cool chick only then realized something was amiss. She'd previously assumed Lin Yi was a member of the Blue Water Gang because of his attire and the fact he was driving out of the Blue Water Gang's headquarters. But now it seemed like Lin Yi had no idea where to go and was driving recklessly. Even though he'd shaken off the pursuing commercial vehicle, it was only because of his skill. Cool chick sensed something was amiss because Lin Yi had driven into a dead end. Ahead lay a garbage dump, leaving no way out. On either side of the road were dilapidated bungalows, clearly no one lived in them. This must be the city's garbage collection center. Even if Lin Yi had been panicking, as a Blue Water Gang member familiar with the local roads, there was no way he'd driven into such a dead end. Furthermore, the road wasn't immediately a dead end. There were several intersections before it, but Lin Yi hadn't turned and driven straight through, clearly unaware that there was no way forward. Recalling that Lin Yi had said before that he didn't know the Ken River Hotel, cool girl finally felt something was wrong. No, Lin Yi admitted very frankly, I just went to buy a car, and the hat was a gift from them. Cool girl was speechless, frowned, and felt a little discouraged and uncomfortable. Could it be that she was really a flower in a greenhouse and couldn't stand on her own? She was injured when she went out on a mission for the first time. After the injury was healed, the second time she went out on a mission, her family sent someone to follow her from a distance to protect her. However, that was fine. The saddest thing was that she made a mistake in judgment and got into the car of someone who was not a member of the Water Blue Gang, and talked to him so much. He had already doubted that his mission this time would not go smoothly. Thinking of this, cool girl's hand trembled, and a sharp dagger was grasped in her hand. With a light swing, it stabbed Lin Yi's chest. Snap! Cool girl's hand was caught by Lin Yi. Cool girl didn't expect that the other party could actually catch her hand. Although she lacked social experience, her skills were top-notch, otherwise, her family wouldn't have let her go on a mission alone. She was confident in her skills. She had attacked Lin Yi when he was completely off guard. If she saw correctly, Lin Yi was probably thinking about turning the car around and driving back. However, during this distracted state, Lin Yi grabbed her hand. The cool girl was startled and tried to pull her hand back, but she found that Lin Yi's hand was like a crab claw, tightly clamping her hand, making her unable to move at all. You, let me go, the cool girl said, And she was not idle either. Her other hand turned into a fist and attacked Lin Yi's face. Lin Yi frowned and turned his head to avoid it. After you went back, didn't you go to see the story of Mr. Dongguo? It seems that I told you in vain last time, and you didn't listen. The cool girl was stunned and forgot to continue attacking Lin Yi. An incredible look appeared on her cool little face. You are the one who molested me last time. I am your savior, Lin Yi corrected. I saved your life, and you still want to kill me, a typical ungrateful person. Today, I kindly let you take a ride and answered a lot of questions for you for free, and you come to kill me again. Yankiki's cool little face showed a trace of grievance. Isn't it because I am afraid that you will ruin my big plan that I want to kill you to silence you? And last time, if you hadn't touched and looked at my body, why would I kill you? Lin Yi observed the cool chick the entire way, trying to recall where he'd seen her before, but he couldn't quite place her. However, when the cool chick finally drew her knife, Lin Yi remembered. This chick was the blood-depleted female killer he'd encountered in front of the pharmacy in Songshan. What do you mean, you? Lin Yi frowned. Count to 3. Get out of the car. You ungrateful little cool chick, don't show up in front of me again next time, or I'll be rude. Although Lin Yi admitted Yankiki was beautiful, he didn't want to have a cool chick around who constantly wanted to kill him. Although he could always detect her before she attacked, and the jade pendant could provide early warning, Yankiki felt wronged. Looking at Lin Yi's ferocious expression, a hint of indignation crossed her cool little face. Get out of the car if you want. It's never too late for revenge. I can't beat you now, but I'll come after you in 10 years. We'll talk about it if you're still alive in 10 years, Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Chapter 327 Sorry. Yankiki glared at Lin Yi, opened the car door and got out. Lin Yi stepped on the accelerator, and the car sped away. Yankiki realized she was standing in front of the garbage dump. There was no one around, and no taxis were passing by. How could she get back? Feeling like crying, Yankiki yelled at Lin Yi's car, Lin Yi, I hate you. Just wait, Lin Yi's car responded with bursts of black smoke. Helpless, Yankiki pulled out her phone and dialed a number, saying somewhat aggrievedly, Grandpa Tombstone, were you following me just now? Just admit it, I'm at the garbage dump and I'm lost. Please come pick me up. Okay, I'll wait. As Lin Yi drove out of the alley, he saw the Mitsubishi commercial vehicle driving towards him. Lin Yi frowned, thinking it was indeed connected to the cool girl. After asking around on the street, Lin Yi returned to his rented hotel. The route was relatively easy to find. Lin Yi planned to act at night, so with nothing to do during the day, he parked his car in the hotel parking lot. To avoid car thieves and unnecessary trouble, Lin Yi placed a blue baseball cap York had given him on the dashboard before entering the hotel. He did this because he had seen many cars with this placement on the road, and he thought it was a secret code among members of the Water Blue Gang. A blue baseball cap inside a car would generally deter thieves. Back in his hotel room, Lin Yi got some sleep. He planned to act that night, forcibly extract Zhijinbio, and then return home. Meanwhile, in a suite at the Ken River Hotel, Yankiki sat gloomily next to an elderly man, his cool face flushed with anger. Grandpa Tombstone, that Lin Yi is despicable. I'm going to kill him. He actually dumped me in the garbage dump. You said that man's name is Lin Yi. Tombstone was startled at the name Yankiki had uttered. Yeah, what's up, Grandpa Tombstone? Have you heard of that name? Yankiki looked at Tombstone with some confusion. Nothing, Tombstone shook his head. Let's not go on tonight's operation, okay? I'll talk to the head of the family and cancel it. No, I must go and kill that Hugh Lanton. Yankiki shook her head stubbornly. I must prove to my father that I'm a qualified killer. Okay, Miss Yang, please be careful, Tombstone said helplessly. But I'll be stationed outside the repair shop. Call me if anything happens. Got it? A hint of reluctance crossed Yankiki's cool little face. She didn't want Tombstone to follow her, but she couldn't stop him. She figured Grandpa Tombstone must have been sent by her mother. At night, Lin Yi took action. He parked his car not far from the repair shop he had visited that day, put on a blue baseball cap, and strode inside. The Water Blue Gang members guarding the door only glanced up at Lin Yi but didn't try to stop him. Instead, they lowered their heads again, playing their game consoles. The repair shop was frequented by members of the Water Blue Gang at night. Ordinary people wouldn't visit such a place at night, so the gatekeeper had no idea Lin Yi would dare to come and cause trouble. Lin Yi lowered his head, wearing a blue baseball cap, and no one noticed him. Inside the repair shop, there were at least 300 people dressed like Lin Yi, each busy with their own affairs. Lin Yi didn't rush to find out where Zhijinbao was being held. Instead, he walked around the shop several times, memorizing the Iranian routes. Go to Mr. Weiwu's casino and see if there's a disturbance there. Bring him back to me, and have his family and friends prepare a ransom of $50,000, a gruff voice shouted to several members of the Water Blue Gang. Yes, the members took the order, got into several cars, and sped away. The cursing man turned around and was about to leave when a sharp knife suddenly appeared at his neck. Don't scream, or I'll kill you. While Lin Yi was wandering around the repair shop, he was actually searching for a leader of the Xuanyuan gang. It would be difficult for ordinary gang members to know where Zhijinbao was being held. After all, everyone was busy with their own affairs, so capturing Zhijinbao and using him to extort money from Ziguangbo wasn't a big deal. At least, the Xuanyuan gang did this all the time, and even their leader, Hulandan, might not even be aware of it. Hulandan only cared about the gang's bottom line. How that profit was achieved was the responsibility of the mid-level leaders below him. Therefore, if he wanted to know Zhijinbao's whereabouts, he couldn't just arrest anyone and ask them. Therefore, Lin Yi held back while selecting his target. He wanted to strike with one strike, rather than blindly gathering a group of people to question them one by one, which would alert the enemy. Finally, Lin Yi encountered the leader who had ordered his men to arrest him, and he was delighted. Finally, he found the person he was looking for. What are you doing? The small leader was about to call for help, but when he heard Lin Yi's voice, he immediately stopped shouting. The sharp knife on his neck was really cold, and he couldn't guarantee that the guy behind him would stab him to death. Where are the people you captured being held? Lin Yi asked. Don't talk nonsense, answer quickly. If you lie, don't blame me for being rude. Who are you looking for? Let's talk. Tell me the name and I'll call my men to release them, the small leader said carefully. HMPH, Lin Yi sneered, and the sharp knife cut into the skin of the small leader's neck. Immediately, a trace of blood gushed out. I've already told you, stop talking nonsense, and answer quickly. Are you deaf? Or do you want to die now? I don't mind killing you and then asking someone else. No, I'll tell you. Originally, the small leader wanted to play a trick to find out who Lin Yi was looking for, and then let his men bring the person out as a hostage to force Lin Yi to surrender, but it was obvious that Lin Yi was not even interested in talking. 3 counts. 3, 2, Lin Yi increased the force of the sharp knife in his hand again. In the basement of the building in front. Don't kill me, I told you. The small leader was scared. It's in the building in front, please let me go. 1 Lin Yi said the last number. Sorry, I didn't stop, so the small leader died. Chapter 328 Encountering a Thief. Lin Yi took off the small leader's baseball cap and casually stuffed the body under the chassis of a car that looked like it hadn't been driven for a long time. He guessed that no one would notice this guy for a while. Maybe they would wait until his body rotted and gave off a foul smell before they would find him. Of course, Lin Yi didn't completely believe the small leader's words. Who knew if he had ulterior motives? Lin Yi didn't immediately go to the building that the small leader mentioned to investigate. What if it was a trap? Lin Yi wasn't that careless. Lin Yi walked around the building that the small leader mentioned, then squatted quietly at the door, like an ordinary member of the Water Blue Gang. After a while, a member of the Water Blue Gang walked out of the building. Lin Yi followed him directly. After the member walked a distance, the sharp knife was placed on his neck again. However, before Lin Yi could say anything, the gang member spoke first. Brother, please don't kill me. I just sneaked in here hoping to get some benefits, but I went the wrong way and ended up where the hostages are being held. I haven't done anything yet, and I haven't stolen anything. You can search me if you don't believe me. I really didn't touch anything. Please, let me go. Lin Yi was slightly stunned and speechless. This guy had sneaked in like him? And from what he said, he was a thief trying to take advantage of the situation. Where did you get your hat? Lin Yi asked, somewhat amused. I stole it, the thief said without hesitation. I saw it in someone's car, but the window was open, so I stole it. I heard this is where the Blue Water Gang makes its money, so I thought I'd try my luck. Brother, this is really my first time here. Oh? So what did you see when you went in? Lin Yi asked. I didn't see anything, seriously. I won't tell anyone, the thief said, almost crying. "Tell me the truth. What did you see?" Lin Yi demanded, somewhat helplessly. The thief misunderstood his intentions, believing he was telling him to keep it a secret. "Brother, you're a smart person. You know, that's where you're holding the hostages. Although I saw it, I won't tell anyone." "Seriously, don't worry, I'll keep this a secret," the thief replied truthfully. "I'm not a legitimate professional. I can't possibly report you." Lin Yi knew the thief had misunderstood, but he didn't offer explanations. Now that he was certain the building was indeed where the hostages were being held, that was all that mattered. "You went in and weren't discovered? Aren't there any of our people inside?" Lin Yi asked. "No, there aren't any of your people inside, except for the hostages held behind the bars," the thief, assuming Lin Yi was merely asking a routine question, answered truthfully. He didn't have time to consider Lin Yi's reasoning. He was already sweating profusely from fear. "If I let you go like this, what if the higher-ups ask about it? I'll be taking a risk." Lin Yi didn't want to kill the thief. Killing him would only make disposing of the body more troublesome. It would be better to let him go on his own. However, he had to make this gesture, lest he let him go too easily and the thief become suspicious. "Big brother," the thief said, pulling out a wad of money from his pocket. "Here's my earnings today. Use it to buy you some cigarettes." "Well, you're smart. Get out of here." Lin Yi took the money, stuffed it into his pocket with satisfaction, and put away the knife. The thief ran away gratefully, not even looking back, and quickly left the place. He probably didn't dare to stay any longer and would probably just run out of the repair shop. Lin Yi confirmed from the thief that there were no members of the Shulin gang in the building where the hostages were being held, so he walked in with a swagger. The first floor was a hall, empty. The second floor was closed, obviously used as a warehouse. Lin Yi went straight down to the basement. As expected, he saw rows of prison-like cells surrounded by iron bars. Some of them had people sitting inside, others not. However, as Lin Yi walked by, the people in the cells rarely looked up at him, each one dejected and dejected. He assumed they were all hostages captured by the Water Blue Gang for various reasons, waiting for their families and friends to pay them back. However, the Water Blue Gang was quite arrogant, brazenly engaging in this kind of extortion. It seemed the security here was in tatters. Zhijinbao, Lin Yi, too lazy to search for each person one by one, simply called out his name. Here, a man in a cage excitedly stood up, walked to the edge, and waved at Lin Yi. Lin Yi nodded and quickly walked over. The other hostages, clearly accustomed to the scene, didn't even look up. Whoever sent the money would be called out and let out, while the others could not get out no matter what. So they were indifferent to Lin Yi's arrival. "Are you Zhijinbao?" Lin Yi took a look at Zhijinbao and found that he was very different from the photo Ziguangbo had given him. The Zhijinbao in Ziguangbo's photo was strong and tall, while the Zhijinbao in front of him looked like a sickly person, as thin as a monkey. But if you look closely, you can still tell that they are the same person. "Yes, I am. Did my dad send the money?" Zhijinbao was a little excited. He thought he was doomed this time, but he didn't expect his father to come up with a solution. Zhijinbao had a rough idea of his family's financial resources, but the debt was so immense this time that Zhijinbao doubted his father could borrow the money, so he was already feeling a bit desperate. Lin Yi used a piece of wire to unlock the cage door and released Zhijinbao. "Come with me." Zhijinbao hurriedly and cautiously followed Lin Yi. He was so excited that he didn't see Lin Yi's use of the wire to open the door, thinking he was a genuine member of the Water Blue Gang. After exiting the building, Zhijinbao, noticing Lin Yi's silence, asked again, "Where's my dad? Can I go now? Put this on, don't talk nonsense, and follow me." Lin Yi placed the baseball cap he had gotten from the underboss on Zhijinbao's head. "If you don't want to die, don't ask so many questions, huh? Who are you?" Zhijinbao wasn't stupid. Seeing Lin Yi putting the cap on him, he felt something was amiss. Chapter 329. Why is it her again? "I'm the one who's bringing you back home." Lin Yi knew that if he didn't explain clearly, this guy wouldn't follow him so readily. He had no choice but to explain, "Your father doesn't have that much money. If you don't want to die, don't ask me any questions." "Ah, you're my father's subordinate." Zhijinbao was stunned, then a little surprised. "When did my father get such a powerful subordinate?" "That's amazing." Lin Yi couldn't help but roll his eyes. How could this Zhijinbao be as clueless as his father? He snorted coldly, "If your father were my subordinate, I wouldn't even bother to accept him." "Ah, Xi Jinping finally understood. It turned out that the man in front of him was not his father's subordinate, but a master his father had hired to rescue him. Suddenly, Xi Jinping's attitude became respectful. "Brother, I listen to you." Lin Yi was amused. This kid was a typical second-generation rich kid. When he thought he was his father's subordinate, he was so arrogant. Now that he knew he wasn't, he was fawning. But Lin Yi didn't bother to pay any attention to him. Bringing him back home would be like completing his mission, and getting his father's shares in exchange would be a successful completion of the mission. This mission was so simple, not challenging at all. Lin Yi shook his head and walked towards the door of the repair shop with Xi Jinping. But not far away, they heard a mixed clamor. "Catch him! Don't let him get away! Kill him!" Bang bang! Several gunshots rang out, accompanied by the screams of men and women. It was obvious that people on both sides were injured. Lin Yi frowned. Could it be that someone else had invaded besides him? The thief should have left long ago, so the person these people were arresting now definitely couldn't be the thief. And there was no way that thief had a gun. Tonight was quite lively. 3 groups of forces had suddenly arrived in this small repair shop. "Ah! Brother, what should we do? They've found us? What should we do? They all have guns." Xi Jinping also heard the shouting, and his legs gave way in fear, almost falling to the ground. "Stop arguing. They didn't find us, they found someone else." Lin Yi glared at the fool and said unhappily, "Just follow me. Don't talk too much, and don't look around." Oh, I know. Xi Jinping nodded hurriedly. "Brother, will you protect me then? If you keep chattering and expose us, I'll run away and you'll stay here and die." Lin Yi snorted coldly, ignoring Xi Jinping and continuing forward. Xi Jinping wanted to say something, but was frightened by Lin Yi's cold words and dared not speak. He cautiously followed behind Lin Yi. At this moment, the more chaos there was, the better it was for Lin Yi. Everyone was focused on the intruder, while Lin Yi and Xi Jinping, who were clearly dressed as members of the water blue gang, were ignored. So, Lin Yi and Xi Jinping calmly walked towards the door. As expected, no one stopped them. Xi Jinping's heart leaped into his throat. He wasn't as calm as Lin Yi, and cold sweat streamed down his face. This was a real, ruthless fight. How could he not be afraid? Suddenly, Lin Yi frowned. The sounds behind him were getting closer. It seemed the intruder was running towards them. Speechless, Lin Yi said to Xi Jinping, "Hurry up. They're coming." "Oh," Xi Jinping nodded repeatedly, quickening his pace along with Lin Yi. Gunshots rang out, followed by a scream. A woman's voice rang out. "Two brothers in front, quickly stop that chick," a loud voice boomed from behind Lin Yi. Lin Yi could only stop. If he continued forward without looking back, the people behind him would probably open fire. If he were alone, Lin Yi would have no doubt dodged the bullets and slipped away. But with this Spartan beside him, he could escape, but Xi Jinping couldn't. Although Lin Yi had previously threatened to abandon him and run away, at this point, Lin Yi couldn't really leave him alone. Leaving him here would mean completely giving up Xi Guangbo's stake. "Don't talk, just follow me," Lin Yi instructed Xi Jinping. Turning around, he saw a figure in black nightgown lying not far from his feet. He assumed it was the intruder who had been shot, but he hadn't expected her to be a woman. Pretending to capture the intruder, Lin Yi approached the black figure. "Hey, bro, how's this chick?" The leader, licking his tongue with a lewd expression, called out to Lin Yi. Lin Yi crouched down, then froze in shock. He couldn't help but curse. The girl lying on the ground was none other than the cool chick he'd met earlier that day. Lin Yi didn't know what to say. This chick had repeatedly appeared before him, repeatedly causing him trouble, even repaying him with ingratitude. Frankly, Lin Yi wanted to just abandon her here. But she was also Oriental, and they had a connection. Meeting each other twice in this remote blue city was truly rare. Lin Yi wasn't one to meddle in other people's affairs. In fact, he was someone who kept his distance. However, this cool girl was someone he knew, especially since they were from the same sect. Leaving her here would be dangerous. The gleaming eyes of the pursuers revealed just how dangerous this girl was. "I'm so unlucky to have run into you." Lin Yi took a deep breath, snatched the pistol from her hand, and fired at the leader of the pursuers. The shot hit him directly between the eyebrows, and without a doubt, the leader fell to the ground. Lin Yi tucked the cool girl under his arm with one hand, grabbed Xi Jinping by the collar with the other, and sprinted towards the repair shop's entrance. In reality, Lin Yi had merely manipulated the timing, catching the Blue Water Gang pursuers off guard and causing them to suffer a setback. Lin Yi had pretended to be a Blue Water Gang member, helping the pursuers stop Cool Chick. So, in the minds of the pursuers, they naturally considered Lin Yi one of their own, losing their initial nervousness. From their perspective, Cool Chick's capture was a foregone conclusion. So, when they saw Lin Yi crouched down, the pursuers naturally lowered their guns. Holding their guns was useless, it was a subconscious action. They had never expected Lin Yi to suddenly rise up and become their enemy. So, Lin Yi's single shot caught them off guard. Chapter 330 Lin Yi's feelings. When the leader fell, the people around him didn't even realize how this incident had happened. What on earth was going on? How could they, their brothers, suddenly turn against him and shoot their leader to death? Who could tell them what was going on? So, just when they were at a loss, still confused about how this incident happened, Lin Yi took the cool girl and Zhijinbao and ran away. When they came to their senses and realized something was wrong, Lin Yi had already run out of the repair shop and came to the entrance of the alley where he had parked his car. He opened the car door, threw the cool girl in the back seat, and let Zhijinbao sit in the passenger seat. Zhijinbao was so scared that his legs went weak. Although he knew that murder and robbery had become a common occurrence in this blue town, he had only heard about it and it had never happened to him. But this time, a real gunfight unfolded right next to him. And if it weren't for Lin Yi's quick reaction, Zhijinbao would probably be dead by now. Hurry up and get in the car. What are you dawdling for? If you don't get in, I'm leaving. Lin Yi saw Zhijinbao standing by the car door, refusing to get in, and he grew impatient. Big brother, my legs are weak. Can you help me? Zhijinbao said cautiously, his face drooping. He didn't dare mess with Lin Yi. This guy was truly ruthless. Not only had he single-handedly taken out a leader of the Water Blue Gang, but in the chaos just now, he'd managed to escape with him and a wounded girl. Is that something an average person could do? Lin Yi quickly walked over, raised his leg, and kicked Zhijinbao into the car. Then, he closed the door, got back into the driver's seat, started the car, and sped away. Shortly after Lin Yi left, a large fleet of members of the Water Blue Gang arrived. By then, Lin Yi had parked his car in the parking lot behind his rented hotel. Yang Kiki had already woken up. She'd been bleeding profusely since being shot on the shoulder, but she'd endured the pain and fled toward the door. Unfortunately, another bullet struck her leg, sending her plummeting to the ground. Combined with the blood loss, she'd already lost consciousness. Yang Kiki's fortitude was far superior to that of an average person. Despite this level of blood loss, she managed to wake up without completely passing out. In fact, she'd been somewhat lucid by the time Lin Yi lifted her up, though with mixed feelings. He saved her again. This favor is too great, could she still kill him? So, even though Yang Kiki was awake, she could only pretend not to. Take my room card and go upstairs. Don't let anyone see anything. Lin Yi handed the card to Zhijinbao and said, if anyone finds out, I'll kill you, okay? Although Zhijinbao didn't want to go upstairs, he knew it was pointless. Lin Yi wouldn't pay any attention to him. There was also a female assassin behind him, and he didn't know what her relationship was to Lin Yi. Since Lin Yi wouldn't say anything, Zhijinbao didn't dare to ask any more questions. He took the room card and tremblingly began to walk towards the hotel. Wait, take off your hat. Lin Yi pointed at the blue baseball cap Zhijinbao was wearing. Wearing it now would inevitably attract the attention of the waiter. If the Xuanyuan gang really came to search the place, if the waiter let out something, it would be very disadvantageous. Yes, Zhijinbao quickly took off his hat. Obviously having thought of this, a wave of fear came over him. It seemed that he was not as cautious as Lin Yi after all. Go up by yourself. Enter through the back door and try not to be seen, Lin Yi said calmly. Although the Xuanyuan gang wouldn't have noticed Zhijinbao had been rescued by then, their attention focused on hunting down the female killer and himself, the Xuanyuan gang's traitor. It was still wise to be cautious. I understand. I'll be careful. Zhijinbao's legs had regained some feeling, though they were still a little limp. But he didn't dare to stay. He was afraid that if he disobeyed, Lin Yi would abandon him and leave him here to die. After watching Zhijinbao enter the hotel, Lin Yi turned around and asked, are you still alive? If not, tell me where you're staying. Ken River Hotel. Yang Kiki's pale face forced a hint of cool gratitude. Thank you, no need to thank me. Just don't kill me next time. Lin Yi was completely unimpressed by the cool girl's gratitude. Can you turn on the car's reading light? I need to extract the bullet first. Yang Kiki knew returning to the Ken River Hotel like this would definitely attract attention, so she wanted to extract the bullet, stop the bleeding, and then put on some clothes to cover her nightgown. Won't it attract attention if I open it? Lin Yi felt like cursing. Which master taught you? You're a killer? How come you haven't been killed yet? Me. Yang Kiki's face flushed slightly, and her cool little face looked at Lin Yi angrily. Don't talk about my master. This is only my second mission. Mom said that people always grow slowly through failure. Second time, Lin Yi was speechless. Then the last time in Songshan City was the first time. Yeah, Yang Kiki snorted barely audible and nodded. You make me feel so embarrassed. Lin Yi was going crazy. I finally know why you haven't died yet, because you met me twice, otherwise you would have died long ago. She only carried out 2 missions in total and was injured twice. Is there such a stupid killer? Is there? Lin Yi was a little speechless. This cool girl was too strong. Although she looked cool, she was actually a weakling. It's not that bad, just a little unlucky. Yang Kiki lowered her head a little embarrassedly. I think I'm more unlucky than you. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I really don't know who let you out to carry out the mission. With your social experience, it's basically equal to 0. Everyone has their youth. How can we become powerful without experience? Yang Kiki retorted coolly. Okay, it's my bad luck. Where did you get hit by the bullet? I'll take it out for you. Lin Yi didn't dare to turn on the reading light, as that would attract some curious people. On the right shoulder and left calf, Yang Kiki whispered. Give me your dagger. Is it clean? Lin Yi took the dagger handed over by Yang Kiki, took a look at it, and asked. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 It's better not to see you again. Yet, Yang Kiki nodded. Open your clothes? What are you thinking? Lin Yi looked at the dumbfounded cool girl, glared at her, and shouted. Take off your clothes? More. Yang Kiki was a little incoherent. Just open your shoulders. Lin Yi frowned. Anyway, I saw what I needed to see last time. I'm not interested in someone who's always trying to turn against me and kill me. Who cares? A hint of annoyance crossed Yang Kiki's cool little face, but she still pulled down her collar, revealing her snow-white shoulders. There was a bloody hole on Yang Kiki's shoulder, which was particularly glaring. It was the mark of a bullet. Don't talk nonsense. Lin Yi glanced at the cool girl's shoulder, gently scratched it with a dagger, and then with a flick, a bullet flew out and landed on the car seat. Lin Yi took out a herbal powder he had prepared from his pocket and sprinkled it on the cool girl's wound. Then he said, Don't put on your clothes. It will be healed in a while. Oh, last time, under Lin Yi's care, her wound had miraculously healed quickly, scarring and growing new flesh that very evening. Yang Kiki was convinced of Lin Yi's methods. And crucially, there was no scarring, which Yang Kiki found miraculous. Even as a killer, injuries were common. But as a girl, she was always concerned about scars. Lin Yi's herbal remedy seemed to eliminate them. Lin Yi had prepared this herbal powder for himself. He always carried some on missions, but this time, since the mission wasn't particularly dangerous, he hadn't thought he'd need it. But then, it came into use on this cool girl. After treating the girl's shoulder, Lin Yi turned to look at her calf. Yang Kiki had already rolled up her pants. Lin Yi, with the same deft cut and pick, sent the bullet flying. He quickly sprinkled the herbal powder on her, and the bleeding stopped. Okay, don't do such dangerous things again. You're not cut out to be a killer, Lin Yi said to the cool little girl earnestly. Although you're cool and look like a little killer, killers are often not cool, like me. You? Yang Kiki's eyes widened. Aren't all killers cool? Mom is also cool and cold at home, and only smiles when she sees Dad. Okay, I'll take you back. Ken River Hotel, right? You lead the way. Lin Yi didn't give Yang Kiki a chance to continue speaking. He turned around and sat in the driver's seat, starting the car. Go straight from here and turn right. Yang Kiki had no choice but to give Lin Yi directions, her cool little face filled with frustration. Was she really not cut out to be a killer? This big liar must have been talking nonsense. He must be afraid that he would become more powerful and kill him. Humph, That's gotta be it, Lin Yi. Just wait, sooner or later I'll surpass you. You do remember the way, which is good enough for a killer, Lin Yi complimented cool chick, a rare compliment. Yang Kiki was about to cheer for joy when she heard Lin Yi say, but you'd be better suited to being a tour guide or driving a taxi, you? Yang Kiki was furious. This guy had said all that, wasn't it just to say that she wasn't a good killer? Humph, didn't he ever fail a mission? Hey, what are you doing there tonight? Don't you ever fail a mission? Yang Kiki asked, somewhat unconvinced. Going to bring someone out. You've already seen that person, Lin Yi didn't hide it. As for failure, sorry, I really want to feel it, boast. Yang Kiki's face flashed with suspicion. Hey, that herb of yours is pretty good. Can I have some? Are you the one who's going to kill me today? Lin Yi looked at cool chick with amusement and asked teasingly. How about someone buy it with money? How much is it? I'll give you the money. Yang Kiki felt a little embarrassed by Lin Yi's question. I made this myself. It's a priceless treasure. Lin Yi glanced at the cool girl and said, but, for the sake of the ring on your finger, I'll give you the remaining half bottle. Lin Yi tossed a half bottle of herbal powder from his pocket to the cool girl. Thank you. Yang Kiki was a little happy. Lin Yi was right. This was a priceless treasure. Don't think that with this medicine you can get hurt at will. You should stay home and stay quiet. The career of a killer is not suitable for you. Lin Yi got out of the car first and bought a set of women's casual clothes at a convenience store next to the hotel. When he returned, he handed it to the cool girl. Yang Kiki heard Lin Yi's insults and wanted to retort, but she saw Lin Yi get out of the car. She couldn't curse him anymore. She didn't know what Lin Yi had done. Just when she was angry, she saw that Lin Yi had returned. Put it on and go up by yourself, Lin Yi said. Yang Kiki was about to retort, but seeing how thoughtful he'd been, even buying her clothes, she was so moved that she couldn't utter the word, stammering out. I'm leaving now. Goodbye, Yang Kiki said as she got out of the car. The pain in her leg had subsided, proving Lin Yi's herbal powder was truly effective. It'd be best if we never see each other again. If you're dying next time, I won't save you. It's such a hassle. Lin Yi waved his hand helplessly, started the car, and drove off. Yang Kiki stomped her foot in anger. What a show of force. However, the stomping tugged at her wound, causing her to nearly cry out in pain. She didn't dare to stamp again and hurried back to the hotel. Yang Kiki was puzzled. Where was Grandpa Tombstone? Hadn't he said he'd be waiting for her at the Water Blue Gang headquarters? Why hadn't she seen him when she'd left? Furthermore, why hadn't Grandpa Tombstone stopped her when Lin Yi had taken her to the car? In reality, Yang Kiki had wronged Tombstone. He had been waiting at the door of the repair shop. Seeing something was amiss, he was about to rush in, only to see Lin Yi running out with Yang Kiki under his arm. After confirming that it was indeed Lin Yi who had taken the young lady away, Tombstone returned to the hotel with peace of mind. You know, Lin Yi was the leader's favorite. With him around, why would Tombstone worry? It was just that the young lady didn't seem to recognize him. But considering they were only 4 or 5 years old when they met, and separated at 7 or 8, it was normal for him not to remember. He only got to know the current Lin Yi after reading later information. Chapter 332. Calm response. When Lin Yi returned to the hotel room, he remembered that he had given the room card to Zhijinbao, so he knocked on the door. However, no one in the room responded, not even a sound. Lin Yi frowned immediately. Didn't Zhijinbao come back? Or was he captured by someone? Zhijinbao, Lin Yi called out. Brother, this time there was a movement in the room, and then the door opened, revealing Zhijinbao's pale and thin face. There was not even a light on in the room. It was pitch black. Why don't you turn on the light? Lin Yi entered the room and closed the door casually. I didn't dare. Someone knocked on the door earlier, it looked like the waiter, but I didn't dare say anything. I didn't dare turn on the lights either, afraid the Blue Water Gang would find me and kill me, Zhijinbao said weakly. Brother, you're so strong you're not afraid of them, but I'm not. I can't beat them. Seeing them would mean death. So for safety, I pretended the room was empty, just empty air. Lin Yi was speechless. Even if the Blue Water Gang was powerful in this city, there was no reason to search every hotel and room after every room. That would free them up for anything else. Pack up, we're leaving now. Lin Yi's concerns were resolved, and he had no desire to stay any longer. Uncle Fu had booked a flight for tonight, though if the mission wasn't completed tonight, the tickets could be rescheduled. Uncle Fu had booked 2 return tickets, one for Lin Yi and the other, naturally, in Xi Jinbao's name. Xi Guangbo had also made thorough preparations. He suspected his son might not have his documents with him, so he obtained a new set of ID for Lin Yi to carry. Xi Jinbao had just showered, but his clothes were a little dirty. Without much preparation, he and Lin Yi went downstairs. Xi Jinbao went to the car through the back door of the hotel, while Lin Yi leisurely checked out of the hotel at the front desk. As they were checking out, several members of the Water Blue Gang burst into the hotel lobby and shouted at the front desk attendant, "Have you seen 2 members of the Water Blue Gang staying here with an injured woman in black clothes?" "No," the startled attendant quickly replied. Lin Yi wasn't afraid of them. Earlier at the repair shop, he'd worn his hat very low, making it impossible for them to see his features clearly. They probably couldn't even tell that the cool chick was Oriental, let alone him. So, Lin Yi acted a bit timid and said to the waiter, "Give me the deposit first, I'm leaving." The waiter returned the deposit and ID card to Lin Yi, who took them and ran away without looking back. The Water Blue Gang members who had rushed in looked at him with disdain. "Coward." The other Water Blue Gang members laughed as they heard this. Let's go to the next hotel." "Damn, we don't know who sent the assassins to shoot Chief Hugh Landon. But we're the second-in-command's men, and it's even better if Hugh Landon is dead. But we won't be able to rest for the next few nights. We still have to find the killer." The waiter watched the Water Blue Gang members leave in horror, then breathed a sigh of relief. By then, Lin Yi had already arrived at the parking lot, got in his car, and drove to the airport. Of the 2 blue baseball caps in the car, one had been discarded, and the other was placed on Lin Yi's head. "Brother, how dare you wear that cap?" Xi Jinbao was startled. The members of the Water Blue Gang were looking for him and him. "Would wearing a cap be unnecessary?" "Stop talking nonsense," Lin Yi glared at Xi Jinbao. "If you don't want to die, just sit still." Xi Jinbao dared not say anything else, but he was still puzzled. This man wasn't a reckless person, so why was he doing this? The car drove towards the city exit, but at the entrance, a checkpoint had been set up, blocking all vehicles from leaving. Only a few cars were allowed to pass, the rest were parked, some anxiously awaiting something, while others simply turned back. Lin Yi didn't park his car on the side of the road like the others, but drove directly to the checkpoint ahead. "Brother, you want to rush the checkpoint? There are so many of them, don't do anything stupid." Xi Jinbao was a little scared. Lin Yi turned his head and glared at him coldly. Xi Jinbao quickly shut up. Lin Yi didn't let him speak before, but he spoke. Suddenly, he was scared. He shouldn't doubt the ability of this brother. He must have a way. Xi Jinbao comforted himself in his heart. "Stop." When Lin Yi's car was about to reach the checkpoint, the members of the Water Blue Gang who set up the checkpoint in front quickly illuminated it with a signal flashlight and made a stop gesture. Lin Yi stopped the car, and several members of the Water Blue Gang surrounded him. "Get out of the car. What are you doing? Don't you know that the Water Blue Gang has blocked the road?" "Huh? Are you from our Water Blue Gang? Look up." "Why don't I recognize you, brother? I want to ask, what happened ahead? Why is the road blocked?" Lin Yi asked carefully. "Why are you asking so many questions? Let me ask you, what do you do, and where did you get the hat?" The Blue Water Gang member, seeing Lin Yi's suspicious nature, demanded. "Brother, I bought this car today at the Blue Water Gang's repair shop, and the hat was a gift from Brother York. I bought it from him. He said that as long as you wear this hat, no one in Blue Town will bother you." Lin Yi continued his careful explanation. "Oh? You said you bought your car from us?" The Blue Water Gang member nodded and shouted to another standing nearby, "Boss, there's a guy here who says he bought his car from us. York sold it to him, and York also gave him the hat. Then call York and confirm it's him, then release him. If not, arrest him." The small leader was checking other cars and didn't have time for further conversation. He waved and went off to do other things. "Wait a moment." The Blue Water Gang member who was checking the car was much more polite. After all, the man in front of him might be a Blue Water Gang customer. He took out his phone and searched the address book for a long time before finding York's name and dialed. York was obviously checking cars somewhere too. He answered the phone and said hurriedly, "Hurry? What do you want from me?" Chapter 333 Returning Safely. York and Lazzy were both members of the Water Blue Gang, but with over 1,000 members, they'd only ever met or mentioned each other. But they were both aware of this person. "I have something to confirm with you." Someone claims to have bought a car from you today and is wearing a baseball cap with our Water Blue Gang logo. Do you recognize this person? Lazzy asked. Oh? There's indeed such a person, a tourist from the east. I sold him an old Santana. If it's him, then there's no problem. York thought for a while and said, why don't you give him the phone number and I'll confirm it again? Okay, Lazzy thought, it's better to be cautious, so he handed the phone to Lin Yi. You talk to York, brother York, it's me, Lin Yi said with a smile on his face. It's like this, I just bought a car and was about to drive back. But I was stopped at the exit of the city, and I don't know what happened. It's you, okay, no problem, you give the phone to Lazzy, I'll talk to him. After confirming that the person who answered the phone was the one who bought the car today, York was relieved. Okay, Lin Yi returned the phone to Lazzy. Brother York wants to talk to you. Lazzy took the phone, said a few words, nodded, and then said to Lin Yi, okay, you can go. My name is Lazzy. You can also find me when you buy a car in the future. Lazzy began to pry business. No problem, brother Lazzy, Lin Yi nodded in agreement. Buying a car from you? Maybe in the next life? Back in the car, Lin Yi was smoothly released and sped out of the blue city. Zhijinbao, sitting in the passenger seat, was a little dumbfounded. He was allowed to leave just like that? So many cars nearby wouldn't let him go, and Lin Yi just said a few words and answered a phone call and that was it? Of course, Zhijinbao had learned his lesson this time and didn't dare to ask any random questions. Lin Yi didn't explain. He had just seen members of the Water Blue Gang looking for someone at the hotel, so he expected there would be members of the Water Blue Gang at the exit. So he put on a Water Blue Gang hat, thought of a pretext, and, using York's name, successfully left the city. After leaving the city, Lin Yi took off his hat and threw it away. It was no longer useful outside the Water Blue Gang's territory, and it would be even more troublesome if he was misunderstood again. Arriving at the airport without any problems, Lin Yi simply parked the car in the parking lot without even removing the keys. Let's go, you still want to stay here? Lin Yi scolded Zhijinbao, noticing him gazing at the airport in a daze. No, brother, I just wanted to see this sad place. I might never come back again, Zhijinbao sighed, quickly following Lin Yi into the international departure gate. The plane soared down the runway. Zhijinbao remained silent the entire way, and it was unknown what he was thinking. However, during a layover in Yanjing City, Zhijinbao cautiously asked, brother, how much money did my father give you? All of his property, Lin Yi replied calmly. After you go back, he'll have nothing. Oh, Zhijinbao nodded. Although a little frustrated, he didn't say much. In his opinion, the price was reasonable. Considering Lin Yi's skills, it was well worth it. His family's entire fortune, combined, wasn't even worth $100 million. He'd gotten a good deal, otherwise his father would have sold everything he had and still been saddled with debt. Zhijinbao's attitude surprised Lin Yi. He didn't cry or to make a fuss, seemingly accepting the situation. Had he learned his lesson? In truth, after this heart-wrenching experience, Zhijinbao had figured things out. When he had money, he was a dandy, but when he didn't, he was nothing. The plane landed safely, and they were home. Lin Yi didn't notice anything, but Zhijinbao was overcome with emotion, his whole body trembling with excitement. Are you addicted to drugs? Lin Yi glanced at him. No, I'm just a little excited. I've given up, Zhijinbao said, a little embarrassed. Gone, Lin Yi was stunned. How could this kid possibly quit? I've been locked up for 2 months. I have no money, so who's going to buy me drugs? It was tough at first, but I got over it, Zhijinbao explained sheepishly. Lin Yi nodded but said nothing. In Zhijinbao's case, it's possible to completely quit drugs if he doesn't use them, but he's afraid he'll relapse. But that wasn't Lin Yi's responsibility. Bringing him back home was a promise Lin Yi had fulfilled. Uncle Fu's car didn't pick him up at the airport, and Lin Yi didn't tell him a specific time to return. Flights could be rescheduled, so the time of return depended on the success of Lin Yi's mission. After leaving the airport, Lin Yi hailed a taxi and got in with Zhijinbao. Let's go to Caianhua waterfront community, Lin Yi told the driver. Okay, the driver nodded and started the car. He was a little puzzled. Lin Yi was dressed casually, while the guy in the back looked like he'd escaped from a refugee camp, ragged and skinny like a chain smoker. Were they going to Caianhua waterfront? That's where the rich live. But he didn't ask any further questions. After all, He was just collecting the fare, so why would he care what they were doing? Xi Jinping hadn't been back to China for a few years. Looking at the streets of Songshan City, his eyes were filled with excitement. Thinking that he would be home soon, he was even more excited. Arriving at Qianhu waterfront, Lin Yi paid the fare, got off the car with Xi Jinping, and walked towards District F on foot. Xi Guangbo hadn't been to the company for the past 2 days. He announced to the public that he had a bad cold and wanted to rest at home. This made Jin Gubang, who was already prepared to attack Chu Pengzhan, very depressed. Why didn't Xi Guangbo get sick earlier or later, but at this critical juncture when the board of directors was about to be convened, he got sick? Jin Gubang went to visit Xi Guangbo in his villa once, but Xi Guangbo looked haggard. Jin Gubang didn't suspect that Xi Guangbo was pretending to be sick. In fact, Xi Guangbo didn't have a cold. He looked haggard because he was worried about his son's safety. Although he had seen Lin Yi's skills, as the saying goes, 2 fists cannot beat 4 hands, especially in an unfamiliar foreign country, which is completely someone else's territory. Bringing his son back is a very difficult thing no matter how you look at it. So, he didn't sleep well at night. How could he not look haggard? Jin Gubang happened to come and saw Xi Guangbo's sick appearance. He didn't say anything more, but just comforted him to take good care of himself and get better as soon as possible. Chapter 334 Don't mess with him. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. Xi Guangbo frowned a little tiredly. Could it be that Jin Gubang couldn't wait and came again? This guy just came yesterday. Although Xi Guangbo was reluctant to see Jin Gubang, he still ordered the family's nanny Wang Ma to open the door, but when the door opened, Wang Ma was stunned, looking at the person in front of her in disbelief. You are the young master. Wang Ma looked at the skinny Xi Jinping and was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Isn't this too scary? Wang Ma. It's me. Xi Jinping was also very excited. When he left, Wang Ma was still very young, but in a blink of an eye, Wang Ma already had white hair. Xi Guangbo originally thought that the person who came was Jin Gubang, so he was lying on the sofa pretending to be sick. When he heard the voice of his son Xi Jinping, he immediately jumped up from the sofa. Son, you are back. Dad. Xi Jinping was also very excited. Although he had been free and easy abroad in recent years, when he returned home at this moment, he really felt that the feeling of home was the best. Alright, you two can catch up later. Where are my shares? Lin Yi would be lying if he said he wasn't moved by this father-son bond. But while he was touched, he didn't sympathize with him. Xi Jinping had been nothing but a complete prodigal son. A son's failure to educate is the fault of his father. Xi Guangbo, too busy making money to discipline his son, thought he'd saved him a fortune, but in the end, it was all for nothing. Xi Guangbo was overjoyed to have his son back, but the thought of giving all his shares to Lin Yi made him hesitate. Giving away his shares would leave him with nothing. Losing his own money didn't matter, but his son was the real issue. Could he possibly live in poverty? Previously, Xi Guangbo, worried about his son's safety, had been willing to give Lin Yi his money and shares regardless of the consequences. But now that his son was back, he was worried about the outcome. Many people are like this. Once they have something, they want more, always unwilling to give up and greedily acquiring more. Now, he was truly reluctant to give his shares to Lin Yi. Mr. Lin, do you think this is okay? I will transfer half of the shares to you unconditionally, and the other half, I will leave to Jin Bao. I promise that he will not support Jin Gubang, Xi Guangbo said after a moment of hesitation. Lin Yi frowned. This guy has learned to regret it. It's good enough that he didn't take all his property, but he still plays this trick on him. Lin Yi was about to curse, but Xi Jinping spoke first. Dad, don't talk nonsense. Give everything you should give to this big brother and don't mess with him. I don't want to die yet. Xi Jinping almost fell to the ground when he heard his father's words. The scene of Lin Yi showing his might at the headquarters of the Shulin gang was still vivid in his mind. Xi Jinping was afraid that if Lin Yi was unhappy, he would kill him directly. Jin Bao, you? Xi Guangbo was stunned. He risked his life to leave some shares for this son? But why didn't his son want them? Dad, give it to this big brother quickly. I'm lucky to have made it back alive. Xi Jinping had experienced a life or death moment and truly understood the horror of death. He truly didn't want to be stared at by Lin Yi, who was even more terrifying. Well, since you don't need them anymore, then there's no use for me having those shares. Xi Guangbo nodded, raised his head, and looked at Lin Yi. Sorry, I was greedy. I thought I only had one life, and Mr. Lin wanted to take it away at any time, but I didn't think of that. Forget it, I'll get you the shareholding documents and transfer all my shares to you. Zi Guangbo went upstairs, took down the long-prepared shareholding documents, and signed the transfer agreement with Lin Yi. I don't want the villa anymore. I'll leave it to you. Lin Yi glanced at Zi Jinbao. Okay, I'm leaving. You guys continue chatting. After leaving Zi Guangbo's villa, Lin Yi found a public phone and dialed Chu Pengzhan's cell phone number. Hello. Zi Guangbo was feeling uneasy, and so was Chu Pengzhan. There had been no news from Lin Yi for the past 2 days, and Chu Pengzhan couldn't even concentrate on reading documents. His phone rang, and he picked it up. It was an unfamiliar number. He didn't want to answer, having been so preoccupied with so many things lately, but after some hesitation, he answered. Uncle Chu? It's Lin Yi. Lin Yi's voice rang on the line, and Chu Pengzhan was instantly delighted. He had been pining for news of Lin Yi, and Lin Yi's call was a reassurance. Chu Pengzhan no longer cared about rescuing Zi Jinbao. As long as Lin Yi was safe, that was all he cared about. However, seeing the number was from Songshan City, Chu Pengzhan was a little puzzled. Was it a long-distance call? Lin Yi, where are you? Are you okay? Chu Pengzhan asked hurriedly. I'm fine. I just got back and was on my way to your company. Are you there? Lin Yi asked. I'm here. Where are you? I asked Li Fu to pick you up. Chu Pengzhan was instantly relieved. Lin Yi had already returned to Songshan. No thanks, I'll take a taxi, Lin Yi said. Okay, I'll wait for you in the office. Chu Pengzhan, upon hearing Lin Yi's words, didn't insist. After all, Lin Yi had already returned to Songshan City and was no longer in danger. Lin Yi hailed a car and headed straight for Pengzhan Group. Traffic was light at this time of day, so within 10 minutes, Lin Yi arrived at the gate. Lin Yi had been to the group several times before, and the security guard at the gate had a strong impression of him since the previous incident. Seeing Lin Yi, he immediately greeted him with a smile. Lin Yi nodded and headed straight for Chu Pengzhan's office. He knocked on the door, and soon it opened to reveal Uncle Fu. Mr. Lin, you're here. Mr. Chu is waiting inside. Uncle Fu was a little surprised to see Lin Yi. Although Chu Pengzhan had previously told him that Lin Yi had returned, he still found it hard to believe. It had only been less than 2 days, and Lin Yi had already brought Zi Jinbao back? But where was Zi Jinbao? Had the mission failed? But because Chu Pengzhan was there, Uncle Fu did not ask too many questions. Chu Pengzhan went to understand everything in detail. Xiao Yi, Chu Pengzhan stood up to greet Lin Yi when he saw him come in, and it was obvious that he valued Lin Yi. I was worried before, but it seems that you are not injured. That's great. Uncle Chu, didn't I say before, it's a small matter? Lin Yi smiled and shrugged. A small matter? So you mean Zi Guangbo's son? Chu Pengzhan looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Originally, he thought that Lin Yi's mission had failed, otherwise it would be impossible for him to return to the country in such a short time, but listening to Lin Yi's tone, it didn't seem like. Chapter 335 New Shareholders. I brought him back, but I've sent him home, Lin Yi said. That kid is as timid as a mouse and as skinny as a stick. Return him to his father as soon as possible, so he doesn't die on the road. Oh, Chu Pengzhan was overjoyed after hearing what Lin Yi said. Sent him home? That's great, I didn't expect it. Xiao Yi, you are my lucky star. Since you came, all the troubles on my side have been solved. Oh Uncle Chu, don't take it lightly. Jin Gubang is just a jumping clown in the front. The people behind him are the key, Lin Yi reminded, including Li Chihua. He is just a spokesperson who is pushed out. I know this, but they have been trying to plot against my Pengzhan Group for a long time. If there weren't an insider colluding with them, they wouldn't have succeeded. This time, they were almost tricked by that old guy Jin Gubang. Just wait and see how I'm going to deal with him. Chu Pengzhan nodded and sneered. He naturally knew that a big tree attracts the wind, but if several shareholders stick together, how can outsiders take advantage of the situation? Uncle Chu knows, so I won't say much. Lin Yi was not interested in the company's affairs. Uncle Chu, you are too kind. I think after this incident, Jin Gubang should not be allowed to stay in the company. Let him give up his shares and then get out. This time, I won't raise a tiger to harm him again. Chu Pengzhan sighed. In the past, I turned a blind eye for the sake of our parents, but now, the company has reached a point where it has to be reorganized. Xiao Yi, don't worry, Uncle Chu won't cause you any more trouble. It's not that my old man asked me to come here, I'm just following the orders of my employer." Lin Yi smiled embarrassedly. He was very concerned about this mission. He was very much looking forward to being able to retire in one go. By the way, what did Zi Guangbo say? He won't support Jin Gubang anymore, right? After Chu Pengzhan and Lin Yi exchanged pleasantries, he asked one of the questions that concerned him most. Of course not. All the shares are mine, Lin Yi said, handing Chu Pengzhan the equity transfer agreement for Zi Guangbo. This is the transfer agreement he and I signed. We can re-sign it and transfer it to your name. Chu Pengzhan was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Yi to actually get Zi Guangbo's shares. He had heard Lin Yi mention this before, but he didn't take it seriously. Although Zi Guangbo was a selfless old man, the only thing he couldn't let go of was his son. Would he give away all his shares without leaving anything behind? In Chu Pengzhan's opinion, Zi Guangbo would rather die than leave something for his son. He really gave you the shares. Chu Pengzhan was surprised and happy. His best plan was for Zi Guangbo to join forces with him to deal with Jin Gubang, but Lin Yi surprised him even more. This time, there was no fear of Zi Guangbo turning against him, as he no longer had any connection to the company. But Yi, the shares will remain in your name. You deserve them. You earned them through your own ability. How can I take them back? Chu Pengzhan waved his hand, rejecting the shares from Lin Yi. Me. Lin Yi was stunned. He hadn't expected Chu Pengzhan to give him the shares. This is part of your compensation, haha, Chu Pengzhan laughed. Okay, enough talk. Just keep this share transfer document. But now, you have to cooperate with me on something. What is it? Lin Yi asked. Uncle Chu. Just let me know. Lin Yi hadn't considered keeping the shares before. After all, he could tell who treated him well and who didn't. If it were Liu Xianai's family, Lin Yi might have taken the shares and then extorted a commission from them, but with Chu Pengzhan, there was no need. Oh, to attend the shareholders' meeting, Chu Pengzhan said with a smile. Li Fu, go and tell them to hold an extraordinary shareholders' meeting immediately. I need to introduce them to the company's new third-largest shareholder. Okay, Mr. Chu. Uncle Fu nodded and went back to work. Uncle Fu, usually so composed and composed, couldn't help but smile. He wanted to see what Jin Gubang's expression would be when he learned that Zi Guangbo's shares had been transferred to Lin Yi. Jin Gubang was truly puzzled. Chu Pengzhan demanded an extraordinary shareholder meeting? Was he kidding? For the past few days, Chu Pengzhan had been finding excuses to refuse to hold shareholders' meetings and board meetings, but why did he suddenly buck his habit and proactively request one today? Had he persuaded Zi Guangbo, or did he have some new trick up his sleeve? Zi Guangbo shouldn't have been at work today. Why hold a shareholders' meeting without the company's third-largest shareholder? Even though he felt baffled, Jin Gubang still arrived at the meeting room on time, at least to put on a show. There are more people at the shareholders' meeting than at the board of directors, and some small shareholders will also attend. After nodding and greeting familiar shareholders, Jin Gubang sat in the seat to the left of Chu Pengzhan, which always belonged to him. This was the seat he always sat in, and it was already a symbol of being the second largest shareholder of the company. The seat to the right of Chu Pengzhan was Zi Guangbo's. Jin Gubang took a look and found that no one was sitting in Zi Guangbo's seat, and he frowned immediately. Could it be that Chu Pengzhan wanted to bypass Zi Guangbo and hold a shareholder meeting? But since the third largest shareholder was not present, he couldn't hold this shareholders meeting. Time passed by minute, and 10 minutes had passed since the time of the shareholders meeting notified by Uncle Fu. Jin Gubang sat in his seat with a gloomy face and did not move. He couldn't figure out what Chu Pengzhan was up to. Was he just going to call all the shareholders to make a farce? He was thinking with his head down when the meeting room suddenly became quiet. Jin Gubang looked up and saw Uncle Fu had walked in. This was the prelude to every arrival of Chu Pengzhan. Uncle Fu would arrive at the conference room first and arrange documents and teacups for Chu Pengzhan. Not long after, Chu Pengzhan walked in, followed by a young man. The other shareholders didn't pay much attention, thinking that he was Chu Pengzhan's newly hired secretary, but Jin Gubang's eyes fixed. Lin Yi. How could Jin Gubang not recognize this person? The man who repeatedly ruined his plans. Jin Gubang wanted to tear him into pieces. However, what surprised Jin Gubang was why he appeared here. Could he have become Chu Pengzhan's bodyguard? Wasn't he Chu Mengyao's bodyguard? Chapter 336, Shocking News. Just as Jin Gubang was becoming suspicious, Chu Pengzhan spoke up. Alright, everyone, be quiet. We're going to hold an extraordinary shareholders meeting, Mr. Chu, isn't this against protocol? Mr. Zi Guangbo, the company's third largest shareholder, isn't here right now. Jin Gubang bluntly objected to Chu Pengzhan's proposal. Even if he's having health issues, he should still send a representative. I suspect you're deliberately bypassing Mr. Zi to convene this shareholders meeting. Although Jin Gubang's attack seemed a bit impetuous, having already decided to break off relations with Chu Pengzhan, Jin Gubang had no scruples. Being impatient was better than Chu Pengzhan coming up with some scheme. Haha, please be patient, Vice President Jin. The purpose of calling this extraordinary shareholders meeting is to discuss Mr. Zi Guangbo. Chu Pengzhan, unfazed, glanced at Jin Gubang, then nodded calmly. Jin Gubang felt a bit powerless, like hitting cotton. He had originally thought Chu Pengzhan would do his utmost to avoid his questions, so that he could find a way out and firmly seize on the fact that Zi Guangbo didn't attend the shareholders meeting, making it impossible for Chu Pengzhan to hold today's shareholders meeting smoothly. However, Chu Pengzhan addressed his questions head-on with a nonchalant attitude, and made it very clear that the purpose of holding the shareholders meeting was to discuss Zi Guangbo's matter. Okay, I'd like to hear more. Since that was the case, Jin Gubang could only hold his resentment in his stomach, unable to vent it. After saying something indifferent, he closed his mouth. But he wanted to see what Chu Pengzhan could say. Could it be that Chu Pengzhan would say that Zi Guangbo had already informed Chu Pengzhan in advance and authorized Chu Pengzhan to represent him? That was impossible. Chu Pengzhan would not come up with such a low-level and childish trick. Mr. Lin Yi, please take a seat. Chu Pengzhan would not call Lin Yi Xiao Yi in formal occasions, especially at the shareholders meeting. He must formally call Lin Yi by his name. After all, Lin Yi is now a shareholder of the company. There is no problem with calling him whatever he wants in private, but in front of others, Lin Yi cannot appear here as a junior. Chu Pengzhan asked Lin Yi to sit down, and the seat he pointed to was the seat where Zi Guangbo usually sat. Lin Yi nodded and was about to sit down, but Jin Gubang was unwilling. Wait. Boy, don't sit down yet. Jin Gubang immediately objected when he saw that Lin Yi was going to sit in Zi Guangbo's seat. Chairman Chu, what do you mean? Are you saying that this boy can represent Director Zi? But I remember that he seems to be your daughter's bodyguard. As soon as Jin Gubang said this, the other directors of the company looked at Lin Yi, wondering whether what Jin Gubang said was true or not. Bodyguard, Chu Pengzhan chuckled after hearing this. Lin Yi is indeed a good friend of my daughter Mengyao, but it's not wrong to say he's a bodyguard. A flower protector. After Chu Pengzhan explained this, all the shareholders present understood. Chu Pengzhan meant his daughter's boyfriend. If he said bodyguard, then he was right. A flower protector is a bodyguard. The flower guardian. Jin Gubang snorted coldly and said disapprovingly, be it a bodyguard or a flower guardian, I don't care what he does. I would like to ask Chairman Chu. Why did he attend the shareholders meeting? And he sat in Director Zi's position? Does Chairman Chu want to tell me that this was Director Zi's intention? Or some people want to use their power for personal gain? Are you mentally retarded? I think you have eaten too many mentally retarded movies, just like that idiot Zi Guangbo. Lin Yi didn't wait for Chu Pengzhan to speak, and spoke directly. You ask me why I am sitting here? I also want to ask you why you are sitting here. Who are you? Is it Director Zi's intention? Is that idiot Zi Guangbo qualified to assign me here? Who is he? I am just a little better than you. I am a shareholder of the group, and one of the 3 largest shareholders. Why can't I sit here? Jin Gubang was so angry at Lin Yi's words. When had he ever been called a mentally retarded? But Lin Yi scolded him in front of so many people, which made him very embarrassed. Jin Gubang was immediately a little furious. Chairman Chu, I want to ask, how can such a person attend the shareholder meeting? What qualifications does he have? And he dared to insult shareholders. Security, where are the security? Get him out. The other shareholders also looked at Lin Yi in confusion, thinking, even if you are Chu Pengzhan's future son-in-law, you can't be so arrogant, right? Jin Gubang is the 2nd largest shareholder after Chu Pengzhan. In the company, only Chu Pengzhan and Zi Guangbo dare to openly oppose him. Other small shareholders do not have this qualification. But you are just Chu Pengzhan's son-in-law, not Chu Pengzhan himself. Isn't it a bit too much for you to insult shareholders like this? You even dare to scold the second largest shareholder of the company. Aren't we small shareholders allowed to be bullied by you? Just when these people were extremely disdainful of Lin Yi's bullying, Chu Pengzhan spoke up. Vice President Jin, Mr. Lin Yi is now the company's new shareholder and the largest shareholder besides you and me. As soon as Chu Pengzhan said this, the whole audience was in an uproar. Everyone looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. Wasn't the third largest shareholder in the company Zhi Guangbo? How did it become Lin Yi? Jin Gubang was stunned. He looked at Chu Pengzhan in disbelief, then looked at Lin Yi. How is this possible? This is impossible. Chu Pengzhan, what on earth are you trying to do? Jin Gubang was completely mad this time. He simply didn't believe Chu Pengzhan's words because his words were too unbelievable. The company's third largest shareholder was obviously Zhi Guangbo. How could it be Lin Yi? I don't have time to waste with you. Here are the equity transfer documents. Take a look for yourself. Lin Yi casually threw out a document. It was the equity transfer agreement signed by Zhi Guangbo. Jin Gubang snatched the transfer document and started to read it. After reading it, he stared at Chu Pengzhan with a ferocious face. Impossible. I don't believe it. This must be forged by you. How could Zhi Guangbo transfer his equity to you? And it was a gift for free? Is he mentally retarded? Jin Gubang was so angry that he also used the word mentally retarded. Whether he's mentally retarded or not, you can find out by making a phone call. Lin Yi curled his lips and looked at the crazy Jin Gubang as if he were a fool. Jin Gubang was originally a steady person, but what happened today was repeatedly beyond his control, so he couldn't calm down. Because the things in front of him seemed absolutely impossible to happen, it was simply beyond common sense. Chapter 337 Hope shattered in an instant. Impossible. Absolutely impossible, Jin Gubang muttered to himself as he pulled out his phone. As an old acquaintance of Zhi Guangbo, he was well aware of Zhi Guangbo's signature style and seal. This equity transfer document, on the surface, didn't appear to be forged. Furthermore, Chu Pengzhan wouldn't falsify it in this way. It was completely meaningless. Even if he could gain the upper hand at a shareholders' meeting, the moment Zhi Guangbo showed up, the conspiracy would fall apart. And Chu Pengzhan would be branded a dishonest shareholder fraudster. The gains simply wouldn't make up for the losses. But in Jin Gubang's view, Zhi Guangbo giving Lin Yi shares for free was even more impossible. Was Zhi Guangbo completely mad? His son was still in the hands of foreign mafia gangs, and he owed a huge loan shark. If he didn't repay the loan, he would be doomed. Therefore, Zhi Guangbo's only option was to keep his shares in order to cooperate with him. This was his only way out. If he gave Lin Yi his shares now, what else could he use to cooperate? He called Zhi Guangbo's phone, but it was turned off. But Jin Gubang didn't care. Zhi Guangbo had been sick at home for the past 2 days and his phone had been turned off. Jin Gubang called Zhi Guangbo's villa landline again. After a while, the call was answered, but it wasn't Zhi Guangbo, but a stranger's voice. Hello, who are you looking for? I'm looking for Mr. Zhi Guangbo. Is he here? Jin Gubang asked. Oh, you want my dad? Wait a minute, I'll go get him. Zhi Jinbao answered the call. Zhi Guangbo was very happy today. His son was back, so he planned to cook some of his son's childhood favorites. In fact, although Zhi Guangbo had given all of his shares to Lin Yi, he still had some real estate, including more than 10 houses in Songshan City, plus some antiques and jewelry. If he sold them all, he would get back tens of millions of yuan, enough for a small business, so he didn't have to worry about anything. Giving the shares to Lin Yi actually made him feel relieved. The days of starting a business with his son would be the happiest. Wait a minute, Zhi Guangbo is your father? Who are you? Jin Gubang's face suddenly showed a look of horror. I am his son Zhi Jinbao. What's wrong? Who are you? Zhi Jinbao thought to himself, is this guy a fool? I call him dad, who do you think I could be? Weren't you captured by foreign gangs? Why are you at home? Jin Gubang asked in disbelief. Who are you? How did you know I was captured? Zhi Jinbao frowned. Did you call to cause trouble? No, I'm your father's colleague. Jin Gubang felt more and more that something was wrong. Why were there so many strange things today? Zhi Guangbo's son actually returned safely, and Zhi Guangbo's shares were in Lin Yi's hands. My dad is here, talk to him. Hearing that it was his father's colleague, Zhi Jinbao held back from cursing. Why was this guy so rude? He was captured and couldn't come back? After a while, Zhi Guangbo's voice came over the line. Hello? This is Zhi Guangbo. Old Z, this is old Jin. Jin Gubang forced a smile. Was that your son who answered the phone just now? He's back, he's back. What's up? Z Guangbo's earlier warmth in his voice was gone, replaced by a cold, perfunctory tone. If it's nothing, I'm hanging up. I'm cooking for my son. Wait, Chu Pengzhan is holding a shareholders meeting. Did you know about this? Jin Gubang refused to let Z Guangbo hang up. He asked quickly. What does this have to do with me? I've already given the shares to someone else, Z Guangbo said impatiently. Okay, it's fine, I'm hanging up. Bye. Beep, beep. Jin Gubang's phone beeped several times, then displayed call ended. Jin Gubang was stunned, completely stunned. He gasped for breath, unsure what to do. Just a few minutes ago, he'd thought he was about to become chairman, but this phone call was like a bolt from the blue, shattering Jin Gubang's soul. It's over, everything is over. Jin Gubang knew that he had absolutely no chance of becoming the chairman now. Are you kidding me? The company's largest shareholder and the third largest shareholder are now family members. What else can he do? I'm afraid that those small shareholders who sided with him before will not side with him after seeing the current situation. In the future shareholders meeting, it will be clear that Chu Pengzhan and Lin Yi are extremely powerful. What else can he do to compete with them? Hope was shattered in an instant. Jin Gubang no longer wanted to know how Lin Yi got Z Guangbo's shares. There was no point in doing so. The only thing he could do now was to find a way to protect himself. Jin Gubang was sure that Chu Pengzhan would not show mercy when dealing with him next time. Therefore, whether he could become the chairman or not was secondary. Whether he could stay in the company safely was another matter. Bang! Jin Gubang smashed the phone in his hand to the ground, and the phone was instantly broken into pieces. After Jin Gubang threw his phone, he stood up and walked out of the meeting room without looking back, his face filled with gloom. Chu Pengzhan didn't mind. Jin Gubang's reaction was normal, and Chu Pengzhan didn't care at all. Instead, he felt very refreshed. Because when Jin Gubang and Z Guangbo were singing the same tune before, Chu Pengzhan had wanted to throw his phone for a long time. The purpose of this extraordinary general meeting of shareholders is to introduce everyone to our new shareholder, Mr. Lin Yi. Chu Pengzhan smiled and introduced Lin Yi to the other shareholders present. Suddenly, the meeting room erupted in warm applause. No one was stupid. This man was the company's third largest shareholder and had a close relationship with Chu Pengzhan's daughter. How could they dare to offend such a person? Moreover, no one doubted that Lin Yi had accused Jin Gubang of being arrogant. After all, Lin Yi had the capital to be arrogant. He was the company's third largest shareholder. Please take care of me. Lin Yi stood up and nodded to everyone. I propose that Lin Yi be appointed to the company's board of directors. Please vote, Chu Pengzhan proposed. With Jin Gubang gone, who would want to offend Chu Pengzhan on his behalf? Thus, without a doubt, Lin Yi became the company's new director, and Jin Gubang's vote was irrelevant. Although I am a shareholder and director of the company, I authorize Uncle Chu to represent me with full authority. His decision is my decision. Lin Yi didn't want to attend the board meeting or shareholders meeting for no reason, so he directly transferred his authority to Chu Pengzhan. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338 Two Paths to Choose. Lin Yi doesn't need to get involved in how Chu Pengzhan deals with Jin Gubang next. If Chu Pengzhan still can't deal with Jin Gubang under this situation, then Lin Yi will really doubt whether he has the ability to manage the company. Jin Gubang returned to his office in a rage. He had never felt so frustrated before, and today he finally got a taste of it. Jin Gubang has always been ambitious to replace Chu Pengzhan, and with the support of Z Guangbo, he is even more powerful. However, the situation at today's shareholders meeting has told Jin Gubang that everything is just empty talk. He has nothing. He used to think that with the support of Z Guangbo, he was sure to take the position of chairman, so he had completely torn his face with Chu Pengzhan to the point of no return. Jin Gubang didn't believe that Chu Pengzhan would let him go next. He would definitely take this opportunity to defeat him miserably. After hesitating for a while, Jin Gubang called Li Chihu. It was no use telling Zhang Yazhao about this matter, so he could only discuss it with Li Chihu. Hello? Vice President Jin? How are things going? I heard from Xiao Yaziao that you will soon control the power of the company, Li Shihu said. Young Master Bing will come to Songshan City to play in a few days. You gave this gift just in time, and you will not miss out on benefits. I'm sorry, Brother Chihua, Jin Gubang said carefully. Something unexpected happened. Unexpected? Li Shihu was stunned, and then his voice became gloomy. What unexpected thing? The director who cooperated with me suddenly transferred his shares to Lin Yi for some reason, Jin Gubang said. Lin Yi and that old fox Chu Pengzhan are in cahoots. I can no longer control the situation in the board of directors. They may start with me soon. So you mean, the real estate company given to young Master Bing is going to go bankrupt? Li Shihua's voice became even colder. That's probably the case, Jin Gubang said with a helpless smile. Damn it, are you kidding me? I've done so many things for you before, and I even lost 2 yellow rank masters for this. Are you telling me to just let it go? Li Shihua snorted coldly. Jin Gubang, do you really want to die, Brother Chihua? I'm sorry, please don't be angry. Jin Gubang was startled. If someone else had asked him if he wanted to die, he would have been very disdainful. But it would have been very easy for Li Chihua to kill him. That was no joke. Li Chihua was fully capable of doing this. Moreover, after he died, no one would stand up for him. Not angry? Why the hell don't you think about how pissed young Master Bing will be? Li Shihua cursed. Young Master Bing is angry, and I'm finished. I'm telling you, Jin Gubang, you have to pay the real estate company, whether you want to or not. Otherwise, you'll bear the consequences, Brother Chihua. Unfortunately, before Jin Gubang could finish his words, the other party hung up with a bang. Jin Gubang was furious, pushing the landline on the table to the ground. Jin Gubang was also angry, but he didn't dare to vent his anger on Li Chihua. What kind of person was Li Chihua? A man who had a hand in both the black and white affairs of Songshan City, with connections to everything, and the boss behind the scenes was even more powerful. Jin Gubang couldn't afford to mess with such a person. Chu Pengzhan, you're pushing me into a dead end. If you push me to the limit, I'll die with you. I'll hold a bomb and blow you up, Jin Gubang said bitterly. However, he was just talking. In fact, Jin Gubang was afraid of death. If Chu Pengzhan discovered his embezzlement of company funds, he'd likely face jail time at most. But if Li Chihua got angry, Jin Gubang could be dead. He needed to come up with a plan quickly, or his life would be doomed. Of course, his nightmare had just begun. Before he could even think of a solution, Chu Pengzhan called him in for a talk. Jin Gubang knew Chu Pengzhan's visit was up to no good, and while he didn't want to go, he had no other choice. He had to bow his head under someone else's roof, so he could only sigh and walk to Chu Pengzhan's office. Uncle Fu stood at the office door, his smile widening as he saw Jin Gubang approach. Vice President Jin, Mr. Chu is waiting for you inside. I understand, Jin Gubang said, waving a feeble gesture as he entered Chu Pengzhan's office. He'd originally planned to enlist Li Chihua's help to turn things around, but now it seemed like Li Chihua had done him a disservice by not killing him. She was even offering him help. Was she dreaming? Vice President Jin, please take a seat. Chu Pengzhan gestured to the sofa next to his desk and said to Jin Gubang. Jin Gubang seemed to have aged a decade in an instant. He gave Chu Pengzhan a somewhat dejected look, then plopped down on the sofa. Chu Pengzhan, just say whatever you want to say. No need to beat around the bush. Jin Gubang didn't bother playing games with Chu Pengzhan anymore. There was no need. After dealing with Chu Pengzhan, there was still Li Chihua to contend with. Besides, he was no match for Chu Pengzhan anymore, so why bother with a stalemate? He might as well just say whatever he wanted to say and see what Chu Pengzhan had to say. Okay, since Vice President Jin said so, I'll be frank too, Chu Pengzhan nodded. I'll give you 2 options. First, I'll investigate how much money you've made at the company over the years and then take you to court. Hey, Chu Pengzhan, tell me the second option. Jin Gubang was no fool. He knew from Chu Pengzhan's words that this was definitely not his choice, as it would benefit no one. The second option is to give me your shares, and forget about the past, Chu Pengzhan said calmly. Chu Pengzhan, don't go too far. My shares are worth hundreds of millions, at least. Are you just going to take them back like that? Jin Gubang suddenly stood up and glared at Chu Pengzhan. You've made about that much money in the company over the years, right? Even if it's not hundreds of millions, there's always 100 or 200 million, Chu Pengzhan smiled. How many years will I have to spend in jail for 200 million? Compared to the shares, it's your choice. Give me another 100 million. Jin Gubang hesitated, then stated his conditions. Chu Pengzhan was just asking for an exorbitant price. Hearing Jin Gubang's words, he snorted. 50 million, 80 million, Jin Gubang said. Okay, deal. Chu Pengzhan's target price was basically around 100 million in compensation. In comparison, 80 million was already a very low price. Chapter 339 It worked. Chapter 0338 It worked. The first option Chu Pengzhan had offered Jin Gubang was just a way to scare him. If he really found the evidence and put Jin Gubang in jail for life, it wouldn't do Chu Pengzhan any real good. Moreover, even if the evidence was found, it wasn't certain how much of it would be useful, and it was hard to say how long the lawsuit would take. The second option was much quicker and easier. I believe that if Jin Gubang wasn't a fool, he would definitely choose the second option. Sure enough, Jin Gubang didn't disappoint Chu Pengzhan. Okay, then 80 million, it's a deal. Jin Gubang didn't want to bargain with Chu Pengzhan anymore. He had more important things to deal with. With the 80 million, he could open a small real estate company and give it to Bing Xiao as compensation. Then, Li Shihu shouldn't bother him anymore, right? Jin Gubang felt like he'd lost everything. Not only did he fail to secure the chairmanship, but he also ended up leaving the company in disgrace. He'd lost his shares, only to receive 80 million yuan. That 80 million yuan wasn't even his own, it would soon be given to Bing Xiao. If Li Shihu still supported Jin Gubang, he wouldn't mind continuing to fight Chu Pengzhan. With Li Shihu's backing, Jin Gubang wouldn't be afraid of Chu Pengzhan. But now that Li Shihu wasn't backing him up, and was even ready to kill him, Jin Gubang had no time to fight Chu Pengzhan. He should just take the money and leave. That afternoon, Jin Gubang completed his resignation, transferring his shares to Chu Pengzhan. He took his 80 million yuan pension and left Pengzhan Group amid the astonishment and ridicule of the other shareholders. Vice Chairman Jin had become a thing of the past. From then on, he would no longer be on the board. These onlookers, the directors and shareholders who once wanted to stand on the side of Jin Gubang, were secretly frightened. It was a pity that they did not get involved with Jin Gubang, otherwise they would have been finished today. Seeing Jin Gubang so awesome and so prosperous, he joined forces with the third largest shareholders Yi Guangbo to prepare for the down with Chu operation, but what was the result? Zi Guangbo's shares ran into the hands of Chu Pengzhan's son-in-law for no reason, and Jin Gubang's shares were taken back by Chu Pengzhan. The current Pengzhan Group has obviously become Chu Pengzhan's one-man show, and most of the company's shares are controlled by him. When Lin Yi is not at home, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu are very chico. I can finally walk around the house naked. Chen Yushu is not wearing anything, curled up on the sofa watching TV. Chen Yushu often takes off all her clothes when she gets home. In her words, wearing clothes affects her body development. Ahem, Zia Oshu, you have to pay attention to the impact. Even if Lin Yi is not at home, what if Uncle Fu comes? Chu Mengyao looked at Chen Yushu helplessly. Uncle Fu always knocks on the door when he comes, he won't just come in casually. Chen Yushu didn't care at all, and was still showing her body to Chu Mengyao on the sofa. Sister Yao, what do you think of my figure recently? Don't always show off your big breasts to me. If you show off again, I will cut them off for you. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu. Can you show off just because you have a good figure? Why don't you say that you are not as tall as me? All your nutrition has gone into breast growth. And my nutrition has promoted bone development. Oh, I'm not showing off. Chen Yushu sat back on the sofa depressed. Why didn't anyone praise her good figure? Really, she can't show it to others casually. Chu Mengyao, the only one who can see it, doesn't say a few words of appreciation and praise, which makes Chen Yushu very helpless. You'd better show off to your arrow brother. I'm not interested in you. Go away. I want to watch TV. Chu Mengyao looked at Chen Yushu with disdain. You keep showing off, but in the future you will have to be touched by cheap men. Oh, I do want to, but I'm afraid Sister Yao will disagree. Chen Yushu looked at Chu Mengyao mischievously. Why should I disagree? Chu Mengyao didn't want to pay attention to Chen Yushu. You are the first wife, the first wife has priority. You should show off first, and I can only be behind you, Chen Yushu said with a smile. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu. Can you be quiet for a while? I found out that you are the most honest when Lin Yi is at home. I finally found out the benefits of Lin Yi being at home. Ah, Sister Yao, You miss Arrow brother too? Chen Yushu blinked her eyes, as if she had discovered a new continent, and asked while dancing on the sofa. What am I thinking? Chu Mengyao said angrily. I just want him to come back soon so that you can be quiet. I can't stand it anymore. How have I endured it for more than 10 years? Chu Mengyao found that she had reached the point where she could no longer tolerate it, especially after Lin Yi lived in her house for a while. Chu Mengyao had become accustomed to the very restrained Chen Yushu. As soon as Lin Yi left, Chen Yushu returned to her old ways. Chu Mengyao prayed, Lin Yi will come back soon. With a click, the door of the villa was opened from the outside. Huh? Chu Mengyao widened her eyes and looked at the direction of the door in shock. No way? Her prayers came true so quickly? Lin Yi actually came back. Her dream came true? Chen Yushu was also stunned. The moment before, she was dancing and making fun of Chu Mengyao, and the next moment, Lin Yi actually broke in. The most crucial thing was that the sofa where Chen Yushu was sitting was facing the entrance of the villa, so Lin Yi had a clear view of her body. Did I come back at the wrong time? Lin Yi swallowed his saliva and found that it was a very difficult decision to take his eyes off Chen Yushu, so difficult that it was impossible to complete. In fact, Lin Yi had been coveting Chen Yushu for a long time, but because she was Chu Mengyao's best friend, Lin Yi had never dared to show it too much. But today was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it would be a waste not to look. Moreover, the great master Lin comforted himself that this was an accident, and it was Chen Yushu who asked him to see it, and it had nothing to do with him. Cover your eyes quickly, you can't look. Chu Mengyao finally came to her senses and screamed loudly to stop Lin Yi's perverted behavior. Chen Yushu quickly stretched out her hands. When everyone thought she was going to cover her chest, Chen Yushu covered her eyes with both hands. Chu Mengyao looked at her best friend and almost fell to the ground. Asking Lin Yi to cover his eyes, what are you covering? Chu Mengyao was a little speechless. Her best friend always did some shocking things, leaving her speechless. Chapter 340 No one suffers loss. Xiaoshu, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Lin Yi. Chu Mengyao scolded her angrily, and then said to Lin Yi, what are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll dig out your eyeballs and step on them like blisters. Chen Yushu took her hands away from her eyes again, and then she reacted and quickly pulled the blanket on the sofa to cover her body. Her face was red, like a cooked crayfish. The sunlight outside was too glaring and the room was too dark. I was temporarily blind and didn't see anything. Lin Yi raised his hands to show his innocence. Lin Yi, the street lights outside are now. Chu Mengyao is not that easy to fool. Well, actually, I was in a hurry and said the wrong thing. The lights in the room were too glaring and it was too dark outside. I was temporarily blinded and didn't see anything. Lin Yi said awkwardly, I'll go back to the room first. I need to take a shower. Stop right there. You've seen Xiaoshu naked. How are you going to compensate her? Chu Mengyao didn't want to let Lin Yi go like this. She felt wronged and uncomfortable. It was obviously Chen Yushu who was seen naked, so why did she feel so uncomfortable? Well, wait until I finish taking a shower. Lin Yi didn't want to provoke Chu Mengyao at this time. He hoped that when she calmed down, she would forget about it. Brother Arrow, you're in such a hurry to take a shower, are you thinking about masturbating? Chen Yushu suddenly spoke weakly. The tense atmosphere was instantly dispelled by Chen Yushu's words. Chu Mengyao was furious. I'm here to help you, but what kind of question are you asking? Xiaoshu, what are you talking about? I just want to confirm if what the book says is true. Chen Yushu stuck out his tongue, secretly blaming himself for speaking too quickly. Doesn't the book say that boys will react and have those kinds of thoughts after seeing certain exciting scenes? And since Brother Arrow was so anxious to go back to his room to take a shower, he must have some bad thoughts? Xiaoshu, are you out of your mind? Chu Mengyao was furious. If you don't speak, no one will think you're dumb. Well, then I'll go home first. Lin Yi was also embarrassed by Chen Yushu. He wanted to shower because he had been traveling for 2 days and was already dirty, but Chen Yushu misunderstood that he was going to do something dirty, and the object of his fantasy was her. Lin Yi, how dare you? You can't use Xiaoshu as the target of your bad thoughts. Chu Mengyao glared at Lin Yi. No, I'm really sweating and just want to shower. If you don't believe me, you can go and watch. Lin Yi couldn't help but chuckle at the end of this. Rogue, Chu Mengyao snorted. Who wants to see you? Lin Yi scurried back to his room and let out a long sigh. The scene just now was so exciting. Why didn't time stop? Who knew when the next time would be? Of course, Lin Yi could have sneaked upstairs in the middle of the night to peek in without anyone noticing. The mighty general was completely a decoration. But that was too vulgar. Lin Yi disdained to do it. If he wanted to see, he would naturally see it openly. Even if Chen Yushu didn't take the initiative to let him see, Lin Yi still felt very refreshed after a few such accidents. Xia Oshu, you, a girl, how can you get married in the future if you let people see you naked? Chu Mengyao said helplessly after Lin Yi left. Brother Arrow is not an outsider, he has kissed me. Chen Yushu blushed a little when she thought of the scene just now. Kissed you? Chu Mengyao was stunned and found something she didn't know. When did he kiss you? Before, she only knew that Lin Yi had pinched Chen Yushu's nipples, but she didn't know that Lin Yi had kissed Chen Yushu. Are these two people hiding any secrets from her? Chen Yushu also felt that she had let the cat out of the bag, and it was too late to regret it, so she had to cover it up and said, no, actually, it was the last time I fell into the water, and Brother Arrow was afraid that I would choke on the water, so he kissed me on the mouth. Why didn't you say it earlier? Chu Mengyao was very angry. Xia Oshu, you are a girl, and he kissed, touched and looked at you. What are you going to do in the future? No, you have to hold him responsible. It's not that serious, is it? Chen Yushu was also shocked when she heard what Chu Mengyao said. Unknowingly, she had been taken advantage of by Lin Yi so much? Why not? No, I have to talk to Dad. He can't live here anymore. It's too dangerous. Chu Mengyao was a little insincere and her heart was in a mess. Okay, Sister Yao, we're not at a disadvantage. Didn't we catch Brother Arrow using the restroom at school? Chen Yushu said seriously. So, we're even. He's at a disadvantage, too. You call him at a disadvantage? Chu Mengyao was speechless. This best friend's thoughts couldn't be judged by common sense. But she was also a little puzzled. Xiaoshu had never been one to take a loss easily. If her brother Chen Yushan had known about this, he would have come and hung Lin Yi up and beaten him. But could Chen Yushan really defeat Lin Yi? Chu Mengyao had always thought of Chen Yushan as a formidable figure. Except for Song Lingshan, he'd always tamed everyone else. But Xiaoshu had told her that Song Lingshan was completely controlled by Lin Yi, using her phone to take pictures of Chen Yushu playing in the sand and then sending them back to Lin Yi. Was that something Song Lingshan could have done in the past? How about we take him in the shower and sneak a peek? Chen Yushu offered a rather tempting suggestion. It is impossible to say that Chu Mengyao is not curious. However, curiosity is curiosity. If she goes to watch Lin Yi taking a bath, wouldn't she become a slut? Therefore, Chu Mengyao would definitely not agree to Chen Yushu's proposal. Xia Oshu, you seem to be getting more and more open-minded. This is not a good sign. It is a sign that a girl will lose her virginity. Ah. Is it that serious? Chen Yushu was also shocked, and then her face turned slightly red. She really did not reject Lin Yi. After being touched, hugged and kissed by him, except for her heart beating very fast, she did not complain at all. Chen Yushu didn't know if this could be considered as a good impression, but after hearing what Chu Mengyao said, it was really quite serious. Yes, it's serious. So, if you don't like Lin Yi and don't want to marry him in the future, you'd better stay away from him, Chu Mengyao warned solemnly. Oh, then Sister Yao, do you want to marry him? Chen Yushu nodded and asked in return. Chapter 341 Tang Yun's cousin. What does it have to do with me? Chu Mengyao snorted indifferently. Don't tell me, whoever I marry, you marry. I find that Xia Oshu, you are getting less and less clever now. No, I think it's quite normal. Chen Yushu touched her little head. Come upstairs with me, put on your clothes and come down. Don't be so open in the future. Chu Mengyao was too lazy to say anything to Chen Yushu and pulled her upstairs. After taking a hot shower, Lin Yi felt refreshed all over his body. Every pore was open. Lying comfortably on the bed, Lin Yi turned on his mobile phone. After turning it on, the phone received many text messages. The first one was from Wang Zinayan when she just got on the plane. She sent her mobile phone number to him. Lin Yi saved the number and then looked at the following text messages. Several of them were from Kang Xiaobo, reminding himself not to forget to come back on the weekend to attend his second grandfather's birthday party. The last message was from Tang Yun. It was short, just 6 words. When do you go to school? Lin Yi quickly texted back, I'm done. I'll go to school tomorrow. Tang Yun was startled by the sound of the text message. She didn't dare tell her mother about the phone, but she had forgotten to turn her phone to silent mode. Whose phone is ringing? Old Tang, is it yours? Mine doesn't sound like that. Tang's mother, busy preparing dinner, heard the text message and asked. It's not mine, and it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like a Nokia message, doesn't it? Tang's father, reclining on the sofa in the living room, picked up his own phone and glanced at it. That sounds like the Nokia next door, Mr. Zhang. Huh? Whose is that? That's really weird. Yuner, did you hear that? Tang's mother asked. Yes, it's mine. Tang Yun had no choice but to pull her phone out of her pocket. Even if she wanted to lie, she couldn't, and she wasn't a good liar. Yours? Tang's mother looked at the phone in Tang Yun's hand in surprise. Yuner, when did you buy a phone? I didn't buy it. Lin Yi gave it to me. Tang Yun blushed and lowered her head, like a child who had made a mistake. Lin Yi bought you a phone. Tang's mother didn't scold her. Instead, she beamed. Let me see it. It should be about 1,000 yuan, right, Mom? Tang Yun was a little upset. Her mother didn't scold her, but her attitude made her feel snobbish. You kid, you're embarrassed. Tang's mother glared at her daughter. Isn't it good enough to buy you a phone? Your dad hasn't bought me one yet. Even this knockoff phone I'm using now, I bought it with my own money. Tang Zhichen lowered his head. Every time this happened, he secretly hated his own incompetence. He was injured and lying in bed, a useless person. Not only could he not go out to earn money, but the medical expenses would also burden Tang Yun and her daughter. Sometimes, Tang Zhichen wanted to die, but when he thought of his wife and daughter, he couldn't do that. Although his wife often scolded him for being incompetent, she still loved him deep down. Tang Zhichen could sense this, seeing how she worked tirelessly, running the household from morning till night. Mom, Dad treats you very well, compared to the ethereal, unreal feeling of being with Lin Yi. Tang Yun felt that this kind of mutual support between her parents was the truest happiness. I know he treats me well, otherwise I would have divorced him long ago. Tang's mother, with her sharp tongue and a soft heart, snorted and said, but Yuner, don't be like me. I've fallen in love with your dad and accepted my fate. You can't be so miserable. Tang Yun knew her mother wanted to talk about her and Lin Yi, but were they really a good match? Tang Yun had a persistent feeling of unease, a sense that her life was a little unreal. Who knew that one day, Lin Yi might no longer love her? Dang, 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 as Tang Yun and her family were talking, there was a knock on the door in the yard. Tang's mother placed her bowl and chopsticks on the table, then walked out of the house and into the courtyard. Who's there, Auntie? It's Xiaoyi and me, a girl's voice echoed from outside the courtyard gate. Is that Xiaodan? Why are you here so late? Tang's mother recognized the voice as her nephew Xiaoyi's childhood sweetheart, and she opened the courtyard gate. Xiaodan, anxiously dragging a stubborn boy, saw Tang's mother as if she had seen a savior. Auntie, please try to persuade Xiaoyi. He wants to sell his kidney. What? Tang's mother was shocked by Xiaodan's words. What's going on? Xiaoyi, you want to sell your kidney? Auntie, don't worry about it. Xiaodan insisted on dragging me here to ask you to persuade me, but there's no point in persuading me. No matter who persuades me, I'm going to sell my kidney, Xiaoyi said firmly, with a determined look on his face. Tang Yun, who had also heard her cousin's voice from inside the house, was startled to hear he was going to sell his kidney. She quickly ran out. Xiaoyi, what did you say? You want to sell your kidney for what? What nonsense are you talking about, sister? It's none of your business. You can't do anything about it. I have to sell my kidney, or Xiaodan will be in danger, Xiaoyi said. Xiaodan, take Xiaoyi inside and talk to Auntie first. What's going on? Why are you selling your kidney without knowing the truth? Tang's mother became anxious when she saw her nephew didn't seem to be joking. Selling a kidney was no joke. How could he just sell it? Xiaodan dragged Xiaoyi into the house. Xiaodan was almost crying. Sister Tang Yun, please talk to Xiaoyi. He won't listen to me and insists on selling his kidney. Xiaoyi, tell me why you want to sell your kidney. Tang Yun was overwhelmed by the news. She had thought it was a joke, but from Xiaoyi's expression, it didn't seem like a joke at all. Sister, even if I tell you, it's no use. I need money right now, but your family's financial situation isn't much better than mine. How can I raise the money if I don't sell my kidney? Xiaoyi shook his head. What can't be solved? We can find a way to borrow money. We don't have to sell our kidney. Tang's mother also came over and tried to persuade him. Xiaoyi, how much money do you need? 15,000. Where can I borrow it? My uncle is sick and we're here, and we haven't raised enough money for surgery yet. If we could borrow it, wouldn't we have borrowed it long ago? Xiaoyi sighed. And, sister, I know you're doing this for my own good, but I have no other options. 15,000. Tang's mother and Tang Yun were both shocked. Why did Xiaoyi need so much money? Chapter 342 Tang Yun's grievances. After Xiaodan's intermittent sobbing and Xiaoyi's indignant comments, Tang Yun's family finally figured out the whole story. It all started with a scholarship for two people. Xiaoyi and Xiaodan were both from a small county town near Songshan city. They had been neighbors since childhood and were considered childhood sweethearts. As they grew up, they fell in love with each other, and their parents tacitly approved of their future relationship. However, things took a turn for the worse. Both families were poor, facing financial hardship. Not only did they struggle to afford tuition, they also lived frugally. When Xiaoyi and Xiaodan were in elementary school, several wealthy business owners from the village came and offered to sponsor the children's education. Upon hearing the news, the families were overjoyed. Xiaoyi and Xiaodan, sponsored by the same boss, successfully completed elementary, middle, and vocational high school. With graduation approaching, they agreed with the boss that upon turning 18, they would work for him for free for a period of time, as a way of repaying his financial aid. Originally, this agreement was merely symbolic. Many students from the village went to their respective employers to offer their services for a short period of time, as a token of gratitude. Xiaoyi and Xiaodan thought they would be treated similarly. However, upon arriving at the boss's company, he took one look at Xiaodan and offered her a secretary position, while Xiaoyi was assigned to security, earning both regular salaries. Finding a job was no easy feat these days, and Xiaoyi and Xiaodan were delighted to have secured formal employment before graduation. They expressed gratitude to the boss and resolved to work hard to repay his kindness. However, a nightmare unfolded. The boss had no good intentions when he hired Xiaodan as his secretary. From the moment he laid eyes on her, he was captivated by her beauty and figure. While Xiaodan wasn't particularly beautiful, her youthful appearance, beautiful skin, and impressive figure captivated the boss, who was ready to make her his own. At first, the boss had only subtly expressed his intentions. After Xiaodan's rebuff, his aggressive behavior became increasingly brazen. Feeling wronged, Xiaodan naturally told her boyfriend, Xiao Wei. Furious, Xiao Wei brought Xiaodan to confront the boss, telling him they were quitting. If they couldn't afford to offend him, they could just avoid him. It was okay to quit, right? Xiao Wei knew they couldn't afford to offend the boss. He was known to be a well-connected figure in Songshan City, a man with connections. So, he politely expressed his dissatisfaction and his request to resign. The boss immediately flipped out, saying, "Quit? Impossible. According to the original contract, Xiao Wei and Xiaodan must work for the company for 3 years after turning 18 before resigning. Otherwise, they would be in breach of contract and would have to pay back all the scholarships they had received, plus interest." Of course, the contract was merely symbolic. Many other students sponsored by other bosses never took jobs, treating it as a form of charity. But when it came to Xiaodan and Xiaoyi, the big boss wanted to make things difficult, and there was nothing they could do. When they saw the original contract, they were dumbfounded and didn't know what to do. Since the big boss had already torn his face, he was even more unscrupulous. He told Xiaodan that if she could become his mistress, she wouldn't have to pay back the money and would get a raise in the future. As for Xiaoyi, he could just work as a security guard peacefully and didn't have to resign. He would still get his salary. If she didn't agree, she would have to return the scholarship money she had received over the years within 3 days. Xiaoyi and Xiaodan were dumbfounded. Where could they get so much money in 3 days? Over the years, the big boss had given their two families at least 150,000 yuan in scholarships. How could they pay back such a huge amount of money? Xiaoyi had no choice but to contact a kidney selling group and planned to sell his kidney to pay off his debts. He didn't want Xiaodan to suffer any injustice. Xiaoyi couldn't stand letting his girlfriend become someone else's lover. Tang Yun's family knew about the financial aid. They had initially thought Xiaoyi and his family were lucky to be helped by a wealthy boss, but now it seemed like misfortune. "Auntie, please think of a solution. Xiaoyi can't sell his kidney. I heard that selling a kidney would deteriorate his health and he wouldn't be able to do anything in the future. Xiaodan was almost in tears, looking at Tang's mother pitifully. She had tried to persuade him, but Xiaoyi wouldn't listen. Xiaoyi, don't do anything stupid. Over the years, your aunt has saved more than 20,000 yuan. You can use it first, and I will find a way for you, Tang's mother said, and was about to find the passbook. And, no need, 20,000 yuan is not enough for anything, and that is the money saved from my uncle's surgery. How can I touch it? Xiaoyi hurriedly stopped her and said, and, you know the relationship between Xiaodan and me. I can't push her into the fire pit. However, what Xiaoyi said was indeed the truth. He couldn't push Xiaodan into the fire pit, and he needed 150,000 yuan, which no one else could help with. If Tang's mother had 150,000 yuan, she would have had surgery for her husband long ago, and it would not have been delayed until now. Yuner, can you call Lin Yi and ask him to borrow some money? Tang's mother hesitated and looked at her daughter. Xiaoyi is the only male child in her mother's family. They are counting on him to carry on the family line. If he sells his kidney, it will be a problem whether he can take care of himself in the future. Huh? Tang Yun was stunned. She didn't expect her mother to ask her to borrow money from Lin Yi. This is not 3 or 5,000, but 150,000. How can she ask for it? Even if she borrows it, how can she pay it back? Such a large amount of money is probably impossible to pay back. And, who is Lin Yi? Xiaodan had never heard of this name. She was slightly stunned. Who could lend out 150,000 at once? He is your sister Tang Yun's boyfriend. His family is quite rich, Tang's mother explained. Mom, Lin Yi is not my boyfriend. We have no relationship. Tang Yun blushed and looked at her mother with some complaints. How could she say such things casually? I've already given you a cell phone, how come you're not my boyfriend? Tang's mother was a little anxious, looking at her daughter. Yuner, as a sister, you won't ignore your brother, right? Are you going to watch him sell his kidney? Tang Yun was speechless because of her mother. She didn't know what to say. She felt very uncomfortable and wronged. How could I ignore him? But Lin Yi and I have no relationship. Why did I borrow money from him? If I borrowed money, how would you expect me to pay it back? Chapter 343, Forced. He's your boyfriend. Asking him for money is a good way to test him and see if he's truly sincere, Tang's mother said. Look at Xiaoyi. He'd even sell his kidney for Xiaodan. What's wrong with Lin Yi lending you some money? Tang Yun bit her lip and looked at her father, hoping he'd speak up for her. But Tang Zhichen just lowered his head, looking like a pushover. Tang Zhichen was actually blaming himself for his own incompetence. If he were successful now, would his family still be in such a difficult situation? Sister, is my brother-in-law really that rich? Xiaoyi couldn't help but ask after hearing her aunt's words. Who would sell a kidney if there were other options? Xiaoyi had been forced into the idea, but since he could solve the problem without selling, he wouldn't be so foolish as to insist on it. Xiaoyi, don't listen to what my mother says. He's not your brother-in-law. He's just a close classmate. Tang Yun looked at Xiaoyi's hopeful eyes, feeling conflicted. She knew that if she borrowed money from Lin Yi this time, their relationship would become really entangled. But if she didn't lend the money, Xiaoyi would still have to sell his kidney. Sister, why don't you ask him? Xiaoyi heard Tang Yun say this, and she was sure that the man her aunt was talking about must be her sister's boyfriend. Even if he wasn't, it was very close. Xiaoyi, it's not that I don't want to help you, but if I borrow the money, how can I pay it back? Do we have the money to pay him back? Tang Yun sighed. Sister, he will become my brother-in-law sooner or later anyway, and you are his. He won't force you to pay back the money, right? Xiaoyi looked at Tang Yun. Besides, Xiaodan and I have our own hands and feet. We will work hard in the future and we will be able to pay back the money one day. Yes, Yuner, your brother hasn't asked you for anything. This is just a piece of cake. Why are you so stubborn? Tang's mother was also a little angry. There was obviously a way to solve it, but you had to force your brother to sell his kidney? If you don't make this call, I'll call him. You guys are forcing me. Tang Yun's eyes reddened, and she was on the verge of tears. You don't understand it all. You don't know what's going on. Tang Yun wanted to say that Lin Yi's future with her was uncertain, but she held it back. Yuner, how can this be called forcing you? How could I harm you? Tang's mother was a little upset. It wasn't like she was doing anything bad. She could have borrowed money from Lin Yi, but she refused. What was wrong with that? I'll call, can't I? Tang Yun stood up, grabbed her phone, and ran out of the house into the yard, sobbing. Her mother didn't understand, and neither did her brother. They thought they had the upper hand to get Lin Yi to lend them 150,000 yuan. Did they even consider their own situation? While it was true that Lin Yi liked her now, after all, their relationship wasn't even officially confirmed. Why would he lend her 150,000 yuan? It wasn't a small sum, and if she could have borrowed it, she would have already lent it to her father for the surgery. Why wait until now? After crying, Tang Yun finally called Lin Yi. No matter what, she couldn't let her brother sell his kidney, could she? Lin Yi texted Tang Yun back, but when she didn't respond for a while, he assumed she hadn't seen it. He was surprised to hear the call. Hello? Tang Yun. Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. Tang Yun's initiative to call him was a good start. Why are you calling me? Did you miss me? Tang Yun was left amused and embarrassed by Lin Yi's barrage of words. Her already somewhat sad mood brightened considerably. Who missed you? Stop being so conceited. How? Lin Yi smiled. Calling so late, what's the matter? Lin Yi knew Tang Yun quite well. She was one of those reserved types, strong but not very good at expressing herself. If there wasn't something, she wouldn't call him, at least not yet. Lin Yi, I have a favor to ask of you. Thinking of what she was about to say, Tang Yun's heart darkened again. A favor? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. This wasn't like Tang Yun at all. Well, can you lend me 150,000? Don't worry, I will definitely pay you back, I promise. Tang Yun hesitated for a moment, then gritted her teeth and made a request. 150,000, Lin Yi was even more stunned. This was even more unlike Tang Yun's character. When he gave her a mobile phone before, she was hesitant and didn't want to accept it. Why would she suddenly ask him to borrow money? However, this also indirectly showed that Tang Yun must have encountered some irresistible troubles, otherwise, for her to ask him to borrow money, he would have to kill her. Tang Yun was not the kind of girl who was greedy for money. If she was, she would have been corrupted by the big divad of society long ago. I really need this money. My brother is in some trouble. If he didn't have this money, he would have to sell his kidney. Tang Yun thought that Lin Yi misunderstood her as a greedy girl, so she quickly explained. Selling a kidney? Lin Yi was stunned. Tell him not to do anything stupid. Money's not a problem. Give me an account number and I'll have someone transfer it to you right now. A few days ago, Lin Yi wouldn't have been so confident, but now, having just extorted 100 million yuan from Liu Xianyi, he was incredibly wealthy. Huh? This time, it was Tang Yun's turn to be stunned. She hadn't expected Lin Yi to agree to transfer the money without even asking for details. Did he trust her so much? Wasn't he afraid she'd lie and cheat him out of his money? What? It's just 150,000 yuan. Lin Yi certainly wasn't afraid of Tang Yun cheating, because he knew her character. Then wait a minute, Tang Yun's heart was pounding, her face flushing. She had mustered up the courage to ask Lin Yi for the money. She was afraid he'd refuse outright, or that he'd feel bad about lending her the money. While Lin Yi was supposed to be from a wealthy family, not every rich kid could come up with 150,000 yuan. However, Lin Yi seemed to agree very easily, without any hesitation. This made Tang Yun feel relieved, and she was very grateful to Lin Yi in her heart. Mom, Lin Yi asked for a bank account. Tang Yun felt that when she said this, she couldn't help but smile. She had been forced to borrow money before, but after borrowing the money, she wanted to show off a little. Girls like Tang Yun also have a little vanity. She wanted others to see how much Lin Yi cares about her. Chapter 344 The Troubles of Happiness. Tang Yun's feelings were conflicted. On the one hand, she felt incredibly happy and sweet. Xia Effen's ex-boyfriend had refused to lend her even the 20,000 yuan her family had asked him to borrow, let alone the 150,000 yuan. Despite all the sweet words and sweet nothings, Xia Effen ultimately found herself in this predicament. Looking back, Lin Yi, aside from being a bit overbearing, seemed to offer no sweet nothings. Yet, at crucial moments, when she needed help most, he always showed up just in time. On the other hand, Tang Yun felt she owed Lin Yi so much she couldn't afford to pay him back. She didn't believe she could repay Lin Yi's 150,000 yuan within the next few years, nor did she believe Xiao Yi and the others could. Was it really like her brother said, that she would be his from now on and wouldn't have to pay him back? It's easy to say, but incredibly difficult to do. You borrowed it so quickly. Tang's mother had assumed her daughter would have to talk to Lin Yi in person, or even pay a price. Tang's mother wasn't stupid, she'd seen through the fickleness of the world. While she suspected she was pushing her daughter into trouble, on closer inspection, that wasn't entirely the case. Lin Yi wasn't like the King's Yao Mingzai knew. He wouldn't just play with his daughter and then abandon her, right? Besides, Xiaoyi was the only male child in her family. If she, as his aunt, didn't stop him from selling his kidney, his father wouldn't let her go. In rural families, the concept of favoring boys over girls was very strong. What Tang's mother hadn't expected was that her daughter had borrowed the money with just a phone call. She was surprised and delighted, yet also a little regretful. If I had borrowed an extra 50,000, I could have gotten your father surgery, Mom. Tang Yun frowned, a little annoyed. Do you think Lin Yi is a cash cow? You can borrow as much as you want. Are you stupid, girl? You're only borrowing once, so why not lend more? Tang's mother thought, since the money wasn't going to be free, she might as well lend more. Mom, what are you talking about? Tang Yun fretted. If you keep doing this, I won't lend you a penny. Not a penny, okay, I won't say any more. Tang's mother gave her daughter a look of disapproval, thinking, why can't she get her bearings? While they like you, get more money. Even if they get tired of you and don't want you anymore, you'll have money. It's no wonder Tang's mother had such snobbish thoughts. Anyone supporting a family like this alone would have had such thoughts. Tang's mother was truly tired of being poor and didn't want to be poor again. Love was important, but without a financial foundation, what was left? If she hadn't still loved old Tang, she would have divorced him long ago. Would she still be suffering like this? But what was love? Old Tang wasn't the only one hurt at the factory. How many families had already divorced? That's why Tang's mother had urged Tang Yun to ask Lin Yi for money. In her mind, only money in her hands could bring her happiness. Tang Yun sighed softly, watching her mother's disappointed back. She knew exactly what she was thinking. But at that moment, Tang Yun couldn't comprehend her mother's thoughts. The hardships of life hadn't yet eroded her self-reliance. Tang Yun, what's wrong? Isn't 150,000 enough? Lin Yi, having heard Tang's mother's nagging over the phone, asked with a smile. No, don't listen to my mother. Tang Yun then remembered that she was still holding the phone. Lin Yi had overheard her entire conversation with her mother. She was instantly filled with shame and anger, deeply embarrassed by her mother's greed. Tang's mother found a bank card. The family had only a little over 20,000 yuan in savings, and this was the only card she had carefully hidden under the mattress. Yuner, give me the phone, Tang's mother said, reaching for Tang Yun's phone. How could Tang Yun refuse to give her phone to her mother? She gave it to her, not knowing what she would say. She stretched out her hand and said, give it to me, I'll read the card number to her. Tang's mother had no choice but to give the bank card to Tang Yun. Tang Yun wanted to read the card number to Lin Yi. After listening, Lin Yi said, send it to me by text message. If the money is transferred to the wrong person, the money will be gone. Oh, then I'll send it to you. Tang Yun was startled and said hurriedly. She had no idea that Lin Yi was just teasing her. The card number and the account name did not correspond, so the money could not be transferred. After Lin Yi received the card number sent by Tang Yun, he called Guanzuman. Xiaoyi, where have you been these 2 days? I called you, but your phone was always turned off. Before Lin Yi could say anything, Guanzuman's voice came from the other end of the phone. Oh? Grandpa Guan, do you have something to talk to me about? Lin Yi did not expect Guanzuman to look for him in the past 2 days. Yesterday, Liu Xianyi brought old Liu here. Old Liu wanted to thank you in person. After he went back, he found that his health had obviously improved a lot. Not only did his appetite increase, but he also walked briskly. It was like he was 10 years younger. Guanzuman sighed. Xiaoyi, your medical skills are so amazing that I'm jealous. They came to thank me. Lin Yi smiled. Perhaps the Liu family discovered his value and wanted to build a good relationship with him in advance? Although there were some unpleasantness before, the Liu family was not stupid and knew how to mend the fence after the sheep had been lost. Yes, they are going back to Yanjing, and the villa they bought here is of no use, so they wanted to give it to you as a thank you. Guanzuman said, just give me your ID number and I can help you with the transfer. Oh, you are so generous now. Lin Yi shrugged, but I am short of money now, so it is better to give me some money. Give it to me. Liu Xianyi gave you another red envelope of 10 million, Guan Zuman said with a smile. I didn't expect that you could get the 100 million startup capital so easily. I was worried that the pharmaceutical factory's startup capital was not enough before, but you got all this startup capital by seeing one patient. There is no way. I didn't plan to accept the money, but the people in his family are not that good. Lin Yi smiled and said, but old man Liu is not bad. He doesn't have any heirs. It's not that he doesn't have heirs, but he feels that making friends with a miracle doctor like you is very important to their family, Guan Zuman said, otherwise they wouldn't give you such a red envelope. Well, Grandpa Guan, please talk to them for me. I have accepted the red envelope in the villa, but I will still have to pay for the treatment next time. But you can consider giving me priority, Lin Yi said very arrogantly. However, he believed that the people in the Liu family would be very happy to hear this promise. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345. Thank you, brother-in-law. By the way, Zai, what's the matter with you calling me? I was so busy talking about my own business. Guan Zuman suddenly remembered that this call was from Lin Yi. Look, Grandpa Guan, I'll give you an account number. Can you transfer 200,000 yuan to it for me? Lin Yi told Guan Zuman the account number Tang Yun had sent him. Okay, I'll have Xixing transfer it to you through online banking. Guan Zuman wrote down the account number and agreed without asking Lin Yi what he wanted to do. Thank you, Grandpa Guan, for the trouble. As for the pharmaceutical company, I'll have time these days to discuss it in detail. I know nothing about these operational matters, so I'm sorry to bother you. Lin Yi felt a little embarrassed that he could just sit back and share the money after providing the prescription. If you don't come forward to deal with the operations, it's best to find a spokesperson. I'm an old man, and I can handle the superficial things for you, but it's better for you young people to do the specific sales. Guan Zuman smiled bitterly. In fact, I won't hide it from you. I'm an old scholar, and I may not be as good as you when it comes to business matters. Oh, so Lin Yi thought of this after listening to Guan Zuman's advice. Before, he just wanted to borrow Guan Zuman's reputation, and then provide his own prescriptions to start a pharmaceutical company, but now after listening to Guan Zuman's words, he realized that things are not as simple as he thought. He has a reputation and the medicine is effective, but he also needs to know how to manage it. Yes, my youngest son, Xixing's father, is a suitable candidate, but I don't want him involved in this, Guan Zuman suggested. If you don't manage it yourself, you should find someone you trust to help you keep an eye on things. For marketing, you could hire a manager. Grandpa Guan, isn't Guan Xin a shareholder in the company? She could help me keep an eye on things. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that Guan Xin was also a shareholder, so he decided to contact her. Haha, even if Xixing is a shareholder, she represents me. You still need a representative on your side, Guan Zuman smiled. By the way, if you have time, come over and make some trial copies of the drugs you're going to market so I can send them for testing and approval. Sure, this weekend, Lin Yi thought. He'd accompany Kang Xiaobo to his second grandfather's birthday party, so it shouldn't take long. Then he could just go back and check on Guan Zuman. He still had some healing medicine on hand. The last batch he'd prepared wasn't finished. As for the analgesic Yang Huaijin was using, Guan Zuman already had the formula, so he should be able to make some trial copies during this time. In the initial stage, only these two drugs should be launched on the market. If there are too many, the magic of each drug will not be highlighted. Only after these two drugs are a hit, and other new products are launched one after another, will they attract more attention. Guan Xin took the account number handed to her by her grandfather and glanced at the account name. It was Tang Yun's name. She felt a little disappointed and a little jealous, but she still did as Lin Yi said and transferred the 200,000 yuan. Tang's mother's bank card was opened in Tang Yun's name. Initially, Tang Yun used it to store New Year's money and pocket money. After Tang Zhichen was injured, Tang Yun contributed all the New Year's money she had accumulated over the years. Tang's mother was too lazy to open a new account and directly used Tang Yun's card as the family deposit card. Ding. The sound of a text message notification sounded. This card was originally linked to Tang Zhicheng's phone. Tang Zhicheng took out his cell phone and glanced at the text message, but was a little surprised. 200,000 transferred, 200,000, Tang's mother was stunned at first, then she was delighted, and quickly snatched her lover's cell phone, carefully looking at the number on it, counting the number of 0 on it over and over again, until she confirmed that it was 200,000 and not 20,000. Then she said happily, "Yuner, I said that Xiaolin would not be wrong. You only asked for 150,000, but he transferred 200,000 to you." It seems that he listened to what I said just now. Tang Yun looked at her mother's happy expression, not knowing whether to be happy with her or helpless. He could not afford to pay back the 200,000. "Old Tang, we have the money for your surgery. Let's go to the hospital tomorrow." The happiest person was Tang's mother. The surgery fee for her lover, which had been weighing on her heart, was finally solved. After the surgery, her lover would have hope of standing up on his own, and she would not have to take care of the family alone. "Sister, is my brother-in-law really a rich second-generation kid?" Xiao Wei was also a little surprised, even feeling like he was dreaming. Before, he'd only thought about it, not quite believing his sister could simply ask for a loan of 150,000 yuan. But he hadn't expected her to be so influential. For the 150,000 yuan, she'd transfer 200,000 yuan in return. "What rich second-generation kid?" Tang Yun glared at him. "He's not your brother-in-law. You still have to pay me back." "Hey, sister, you're embarrassed." Xiao Wei smiled and nodded. "Of course I will. Xiao Dan and I will pay it back even if we save money." "Little brat, what do you know?" Tang Yun snorted in annoyance, but then she remembered that Xiao Wei wasn't a brat at all. He was only half a year younger than her, and he and Xiao Dan had been dating for a long time. So, he had more experience than she did. "Sister, thank my brother-in-law for me. When he comes, be sure to call Xiao Dan and me so we can thank him in person." Xiao Wei chuckled. "Yes, Sister Tang Yun, thank him so much." Xiao Dan also felt like she was dreaming. An hour ago, Xiao Wei was desperately trying to sell his kidney, but in the blink of an eye, he had already raised the money. Seeing the happy faces of her mother and brother, Tang Yun felt a little uncomfortable in her chest. Was it right or wrong for her to do this? Is this what they call, sacrifice me for the happiness of my family? Tang Yun held the phone tightly, walked out of the house, and came to the yard again. She hesitated again and again, but Lin Yi's call just didn't come. Tang Yun was a little annoyed. This guy didn't take money seriously, did he? He transferred 200,000 yuan and didn't even call to confirm whether it had arrived. What if the transfer was lost? Tang Yun could only call Lin Yi's phone again. "Hello? Lin Yi," Tang Yun asked tentatively when she saw that Lin Yi didn't speak. Lin Yi responded. "What are you doing? Why aren't you talking?" Tang Yun was a little puzzled. "Drink water." "All right." Lin Yi put down the cup in his hand. He was drinking water just now when Tang Yun called. Oh, Tang Yun was really speechless. "You didn't ask if the money had arrived, but you went to drink water leisurely. I really don't know if he has too much money, but it doesn't seem like it. He drives a shabby van, so he doesn't look like he's very rich, right?" Chapter 346, Your Own Happiness. "I received the money," Tang Yun whispered. "Thank you." "Well, how do you thank me?" Lin Yi could imagine Tang Yun at that moment, a beautiful girl standing in her own yard, carefully cradling her phone, speaking to him in a low voice. As for how Lin Yi knew Tang Yun was calling from the yard, it was because he heard the chirping of crickets through the receiver. Tang Yun was a little flustered by Lin Yi's words, her breathing becoming rapid, her face flushed, and a thin layer of sweat formed on the tip of her nose. How do you say thank you?" "You're thanking me, why do I have to say it?" Lin Yi, sensing Tang Yun's nervousness, teased her with a smile. "Then I'll give you a kiss." Tang Yun hesitated before timidly saying, "Okay." Lin Yi had no intention of asking for anything from Tang Yun. He wasn't the type to take advantage of someone's misfortune to blackmail them, though that was a different matter for someone he didn't like. "Yes." Tang Yun's heartbeat raced, a little embarrassed by her own boldness. "When?" Lin Yi asked. "You, tell me," Tang Yun replied nervously. "So now?" Lin Yi asked. Now?" Tang Yun was stunned. How could they kiss now? On the phone? Would that be a fake kiss? Would Lin Yi be so demanding? "Well, kiss me." Lin Yi certainly hoped that Tang Yun would really kiss him, but he didn't want to achieve his goal by borrowing money. "It's annoying that I'm not ready yet." Tang Yun was surprised, but shy. "When will you be ready?" Lin Yi smiled and said, "Your kiss is so valuable, 200,000 for one kiss." "Huh? If I kiss you a few more times, won't you go bankrupt? Tang Yun was amused by Lin Yi's words. Yet, I have to calculate. How many kisses can I get with my current money? Lin Yi said seriously. Then you do the math, Tang Yun snorted. By the way, why did you transfer me 200,000? Didn't your mom say your dad needed surgery? Lin Yi replied, I heard that, so I transferred an extra 50,000. Thank you. Tang Yun's tears suddenly welled up. For the first time in her life, she felt the urge to cry out in happiness. She hadn't even said it, yet he had thought for her. Was he truly a gift from heaven? Suddenly, Tang Yun felt the urge to spend her life with him. With her 18th and 19th birthdays approaching, she felt like she had found her own happiness. It was a feeling of being cared for, cherished, and held in the palm of her hand. It was a moment of happiness, unforgettable. Tang Yun's hand trembled as she held a phone. She mustered her courage, tapped the phone, and quickly said, Okay, that's for today. I still owe you one. I'll give it back to you when I'm free. With that, Tang Yun hastily hung up. She was feverish, her body drenched in sweat. Tang Yun let out a long sigh, feeling shy about her bold move just now. She didn't dare to go back into the house immediately, fearing that her mother and the others would notice something was wrong. She could only stand in the yard and calm herself down. A mosquito flew by and wanted to bite the fair and tender Tang Yun. Tang Yun was so angry that she slapped the mosquito to death, but she said, Lin Yi, you are annoying. Why are you so nice to me? I will slap you to death. When Tang's mother saw that Tang Yun went to the yard and did not come back for a long time, she asked Xiaoyi to go see his sister. As a result, as soon as Xiaoyi walked out of the house, he heard Tang Yun gritting her teeth and threatening to slap Lin Yi to death. Xiaoyi was immediately shocked and looked at his sister in surprise. Is your brother-in-law a masochist? He treats you well, and you want to slap him to death? What do you know, you little brat? Tang Yun did not expect Xiaoyi to run out and hear what she said. She was embarrassed. Go back quickly. Oh, I see. Beating is love and scolding is love. Xiaodan often says that. Xiaoyi nodded in sudden realization, which made Tang Yun even more embarrassed and wished she could find a hole in the ground to crawl into. Xiaoyi happily went back with Xiaodan, because Tang's mother had already promised them that she would go get the money for them early the next morning. Xiaoyi, of course, turned down the idea of selling his kidney. In a villa on the outskirts of Songshan city, a tattooed man answered a phone call and ran up to a young man, cursing, Brother Wen, the guy who agreed to sell his kidney has changed his mind again. What? Changed his mind? The young man called Brother Wen frowned. How do you do things? You can't even handle such a small matter? If the fire wolfgang gets angry, not only you and me, but even my father won't be able to bear it. The kidney supply has obviously decreased a lot recently. If this continues, my eldest brother will far surpass us. Brother Wen, I don't want to either, but no one is selling their kidneys lately. People have learned to be smart now. Unless they are in dire need of money, they won't sell it no matter what, the tattooed man explained carefully. You have a pig brain? How many kidneys can you get if you look for them so piecemeal? When I was studying abroad, I saw a large-scale kidney harvesting gang. If no one sells, can't you find someone to harvest? Brother Wen scolded. Brother Wen, isn't this a bit too harsh? If the police catch us, it will be a big deal. The tattooed man was shocked when he heard Brother Wen's suggestion. Even when Brother Da was here, we didn't dare to be so unscrupulous. Brother Da, damn it. Now it's my Brother Wen who's in charge. Stop talking about my eldest brother. Brother Wen sneered and said, if he hadn't deceived people into selling their kidneys on a large scale here, would the kidney supply in Songshan City be so tight now? Yes, the tattooed man said carelessly, and then he remembered that although Brother Da and Brother Wen are brothers, they are in a competitive relationship. Are you afraid of being targeted by the police? Why don't you arrest those beggars and homeless people? Then cut off their kidneys. As long as they are not killed, I believe no one will care. Brother Wen said disdainfully. Who is the underground boss in Songshan City? Contact him and I will go to visit him. The underground boss in Songshan City is Li Chihua, but he is not the one who has the final say. His boss behind the scenes is in the provincial capital. I don't know who he is, but I heard that he is a very powerful person. The tattooed man introduced. Brother Wen, are you going to visit him tonight? Forget about tonight, I have more important things to do. Let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I will visit this Li Chihua. Brother Wen nodded. As for who is behind him, we don't need to care, and there is no need to care. Just like we are backed by the Firewolf gang, there is no need to let others know. Chapter 347 Uninvited Guests. Yes, the tattooed man nodded respectfully. Brother Wen, where are you going tonight? I'll take you there. No need, I have something personal to do today. Brother Wen waved his hand. Don't follow me. Yes, Brother Wen. Then I'll prepare a car for you, the tattooed man asked carefully. Well, drive that Ferrari sports car out to me, Brother Wen ordered. Tonight, an uninvited guest came to Chu Mengyao's villa. The doorbell at the entrance of the villa rang. At this moment, Chu Mengyao was criticizing and educating Chen Yashu in the room upstairs, expressing strong dissatisfaction with her behavior of running naked at home. Zia Oshu, you are already 19 years old, you can't do this anymore. Do you understand? I know, Sister Yao. Chen Yashu nodded with a smile. Look at you, you're so playful every time I say something to you, and in the end, you're just giving that bad guy Lin Yi a run for his money. Chu Mengyao glared at her. Be careful he doesn't take nude photos of you, and see what you'll do next. Oh, Sister Yao, someone's ringing the villa doorbell downstairs. Let's go down and take a look. Chen Yashu started to change the subject again. What are you looking for? Why are we in such a hurry when Lin Yi, the runner, is going to open the door? Chu Mengyao shrugged. Oh, it must be Uncle Fu coming to deliver food. I'm hungry. Let's go downstairs. Chen Yashu clutched her stomach, looking like she was about to faint. I'm starving. Chu Mengyao shook her head and could only pull Chen Yashu downstairs. Lin Yi heard someone ringing the villa doorbell and came out to open it. When he reached the courtyard, he was stunned. The person coming wasn't Uncle Fu, nor was it anyone he knew, but Jianwen, the man he met at the amusement park that day. And Jianwen, Lin Yi was slightly startled. Why did he come to his house? When Jianwen saw that it was Lin Yi who opened the door, a hint of hidden gloom crossed his eyes. He was actually at Chu Mengyao's house? This gave Jianwen a bad feeling. Had he and Chu Mengyao already lived together? And in Chu Mengyao's villa? Did Chu Pengzhan know about all this? But on the surface, Jianwen still had a warm smile on his face. He would not reveal his inner feelings. Oh? Isn't this Mr. Lin Yi? What a coincidence, you are here too. I live here. Lin Yi glanced at him and said lightly. How could Lin Yi not hear the tentative tone in this guy's tone? What a coincidence. As expected, Jianwen's expression froze. Although he had previously had a bad guess, he still had a glimmer of hope in his heart. Now he was completely certain that Lin Yi lived here. Jianwen clenched his fists. He had only been abroad for 3 years, and someone else had already got there first? The former 4 young masters of Songshan had been poached just like that? Haha, so Mr. Lin is already living with Yao? Jianwen felt his heart bleed. Even if he had defeated Lin Yi, the girl he had married would become a second-hand commodity. Are you here to check the household registration? Lin Yi frowned. Why was this guy so talkative? What's the matter? Well, you and Yao saved me that day, and I came to thank you. Jianwen suppressed his unhappiness, then smiled and raised the gift in his hand. Look, I even brought something with me. Let me in first. Lin Yi sneered inwardly. Come to thank me, you probably didn't even know I lived here a minute ago. What kind of thanks are you saying? You're here to pick up girls, so you say you're here to pick up girls. How hypocritical. But Lin Yi didn't expose his intention. What this guy was doing here had nothing to do with him. He opened the gate and let Jianwen in. I wonder if Mr. Chu is home, Jianwen asked tentatively after entering. Who are you looking for? Lin Yi looked at Jianwen with disdain. Uncle Chu doesn't live here. You should go to the company to find him. Oh? He doesn't live here anymore. Jianwen really wanted to ask where Chu Pengzhan was, because before he left the country, Chu Pengzhan lived with Chu Mengyao. Lin Yi ignored him and went into the villa first, telling Jianwen to follow. As for the gift he was holding, Lin Yi didn't bother to take it. He didn't know who it was for. By then, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu had already come downstairs. Seeing Jianwen behind Lin Yi, they were also a little surprised. Brother Jianwen, why are you here? Chu Mengyao didn't like Jianwen very much. At this moment, Jianwen no longer had the feeling of the brother next door she had when she was a child. There was an indescribable gloomy aura about him that made Chu Mengyao feel uncomfortable. Haha, I'm so grateful to you and Mr. Lin for our last time at the amusement park restaurant, so I came to say thank you. and Xuanyuan smiled and placed the gift on the coffee table in the villa's living room. They were all foreign nutritional supplements, a mess of everything, but they didn't look like things for young people at all. Lin Yi guessed that maybe this guy came here specifically to visit Chu Pengzhan, but Chu Pengzhan no longer lived here. Brother Xuanyuan, when did you become so hypocritical? You would never do this before, Chu Mengyao said lightly. She felt that the gap between her and Xuanyuan was getting bigger and bigger, and there was no longer the brother-sister relationship they used to have. If I were sick, would you sit back and watch? Haha, that's me being tacky, and Xuanyuan also felt that he was a little inconsiderate. He rushed to Chu Pengzhan's house without inquiring about his current residence. These things were indeed not suitable to give to Chu Mengyao, but since they had been brought here, it would be even more inappropriate to take them back. But these are things I brought back from abroad, just for fun. Oh, Sister Yao, these things should be very valuable, right? Why don't we sell them? Chen Yushu looked at the pile of foreign gifts on the coffee table curiously. Zia Oshu, Chu Mengyao waited for her to look at her. Even if you don't like Xuanyuan, you can't be so disrespectful, right? Xuanyuan's mouth twitched twice. He was completely helpless with Chen Yushu. He couldn't afford to provoke her, and she was Chu Mengyao's best friend, so he didn't dare to offend her. Chen Yushu smiled, ignoring Xuanyuan and turning on the TV. The atmosphere in the villa suddenly became a little cold. You guys chat, I'm going back to my room. Lin Yi stood up and walked towards his room. Talking nonsense with Xuanyuan was a waste of time. Xuanyuan saw Lin Yi stand up and walk towards the room on the first floor, but a strange look flashed in his eyes. Mr. Lin lives downstairs. Chapter 348 Image Collapse. Lin Yi really wanted to curse. Are you mentally retarded? What the hell does it have to do with you where I live? But this was Chu Mengyao's villa. Lin Yi gave the eldest lady face, glanced at Xuanyuan, and ignored him. Chu Mengyao naturally knew what Xuanyuan wanted to know, but she was too lazy to answer such questions. However, Xuanyuan obviously had no self-awareness. Lin Yi did not reply, but continued to ask, Yao, don't you sleep together at night? Chu Mengyao frowned, but Chen Yushu said first, Sister Yao and I sleep together, and Xuanyuan almost burst into tears after hearing what Chen Yushu said. He wanted to say, what a good person, what a good person. Zia Oshu, Brother Xuanyuan has known you for so many years, and you finally said something that made Brother Xuanyuan feel at ease. You are so awesome. Although Xuanyuan felt that his questions were a bit inappropriate, he had to understand what the relationship between Lin Yi and Chu Mengyao was. This was related to his own love plan, and he could not be vague. Haha, so Mr. Lin isn't your boyfriend anymore, and Xuanyuan had also noticed something in Chu Mengyao's attitude towards Lin Yi. He felt that Lin Yi didn't seem like Chu Mengyao's boyfriend. Chu Mengyao frowned. Brother Xuanyuan, what exactly do you want to know? Chu Mengyao was also annoyed by his incessant questions. Wasn't he just trying to confirm her relationship with Lin Yi? So, he'd just tell her, let him understand, and then leave. Didn't Zia Oshu explain it clearly to you last time? The more Chu Mengyao talked, the more confused Xuanyuan became. Where did this Lin Yi come from? Was he really Chu Mengyao's boyfriend? To be honest, Xuanyuan didn't quite believe Chen Yushu's words. That little girl was a liar. Her words about bodyguard and shield had a lot of meaning. Last time at the amusement park restaurant, Xuanyuan hadn't had time to think about it. But after returning home, he reflected on Chu Mengyao and Lin Yi's actions and expressions. They really didn't seem like a couple. So, was Chen Yushu saying that Lin Yi was just Chu Mengyao's bodyguard? Or was he a pawn to ward off those suitors? After returning home, Xuanyuan thought it more and more likely, which was why he wanted to visit and get some information from Chu Pengzhan. However, Chu Pengzhan was not there, so he could only start with a person involved. Haha, I was just asking casually, there's no other intention, just to help you check. Xuanyuan smiled and said, you're my little sister. You've found a boyfriend, so naturally, I'll help you check it out. Oh, then go ahead. Chu Mengyao was annoyed. Xuanyuan had never been so annoying before, so why was he so impatient after returning from abroad? Although Chu Mengyao could sense that Xuanyuan was interested in her before, Xuanyuan had never been as impatient as he was now. Of course, Chu Mengyao had misunderstood Xuanyuan. Xuanyuan's impatience was because he saw a rival in love. Before, Chu Mengyao had no suitors who could rival her, so Xuanyuan hadn't been anxious at all. He felt that Chu Mengyao would be his sooner or later, and it didn't matter if it was sooner or later. But now it was different. Lin Yi's appearance completely disrupted Xuanyuan's plans, forcing him to worry. It seemed that Lin Yi and Chu Mengyao didn't have a deep relationship yet. If he didn't rush now, wouldn't it be like giving up? Haha, okay, in that case. I'll invite Mr. Lin Yi out to dinner tomorrow night. On the one hand, I want to thank him for saving my life, and on the other hand, I want to help you check. And Xuanyuan said, Yao, how about giving your boyfriend a day off? If he wants to go, he can go. What does it have to do with me? Chu Mengyao said nonchalantly. Okay, I'll go talk to him, and Xuanyuan felt more reassured after hearing Chu Mengyao's words. Chu Mengyao's indifference to Lin Yi showed that their relationship was probably not as close as he had imagined. As he spoke, and Xuanyuan stood up and walked towards Lin Yi's room. He knocked on the door. Lin Yi opened the door and saw Xuanyuan, so he asked, "What can I do for you?" Haha, it's like this. Are you free tomorrow night? I'll treat you to a meal to express my gratitude. And Xuanyuan smiled and patted Lin Yi's shoulder in a familiar manner. How about it, Mr. Lin? Do me a favor, you treat me to a meal. Lin Yi looked at Xuanyuan as if you were a fool. Do you have so much money to burn? I won't go. And Xuanyuan was suddenly embarrassed by Lin Yi's words. Mr. Lin Yao has agreed. Are you afraid that she won't agree? So you say this. Although he said this, and Xuanyuan felt a little contempt in his heart. What are you so arrogant about? Who are you? You are competing with me for Chu Mengyao. If I don't let you know how powerful I am, you country boy will not know your place. Oh? The young lady agreed. Lin Yi was stunned and looked at Chu Mengyao, but she nodded to him. Lin Yi had no choice but to say, okay, then tomorrow, where shall we eat? In fact, Chu Mengyao didn't want Lin Yi to go to dinner with Xuanyuan. Whether they ate or not was none of her business. The key issue is that Chu Mengyao was really annoyed with Xuanyuan. He kept asking this and that in front of her. It would be better for him to ask Lin Yi tomorrow and leave as soon as possible. He still needed to rest. I'll wait for you here at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Let's decide the place tomorrow. And Xuanyuan was even more confused. Lin Yi didn't seem like the kind of person who would just follow orders. Why did he agree without a second thought when Chu Mengyao asked him to go? Could it be that this guy was really just a bodyguard and not Chu Mengyao's boyfriend? Thinking of this, and Xuanyuan felt that it was very likely that the words of that devilish girl Chen Yushu were not to be believed, and Lin Yi might not have had any relationship with Chu Mengyao after all. Oh, okay, Lin Yi nodded. Since this guy wanted to treat him, then let him go. He would just eat him out tomorrow. How about I bring another buddy? Sure, no problem, and Xuanyuan nodded and agreed readily. After getting Lin Yi's reply, and Xuanyuan was satisfied and prepared to leave. Chu Mengyao had to see him to the door out of politeness. After Xuanyuan left, she shook her head and breathed a sigh of relief. You want me to have dinner with him tomorrow? Lin Yi asked. He felt that Chu Mengyao was a little strange. I just want you to agree to him so that he can go back quickly. I'm going to bed. If he's still here, I don't think it would be annoying. Chu Mengyao's impression of Xuanyuan became worse and worse. The image of the brother next door collapsed. Chapter 349 Who is your brother? Chu Mengyao felt bored and baffled by Xuanyuan's current situation. Lin Yi's personality was her personal concern, so why did he have to worry about her? And he was even checking up on her? Did she need him too? Oh my god, I thought you had some ulterior motive for asking me to have dinner with him. Lin Yi was speechless. I should have said no. Agree, but you can go and teach him a lesson tomorrow. I've already disliked him. Chen Yushu raised her fist. He's clearly nothing, yet he acts so arrogant. He thinks the title of one of the 4 young masters of Songshan is so effective. Isn't he just the tallest of the short guys? Xiaoshu, your brother is the leader of the 4 young masters of Songshan. Chu Mengyao corrected him, giving Chen Yushu a speechless look. My brother, I don't think he's as good as Brother Arrow. He can't even handle that little girl Song Lingshan, but with just a word from Brother Arrow, little Song just obeys. Chen Yushu suddenly became excited when she mentioned Song Lingshan. Xiaoshu, why do I feel that Chen Yushan is not your biological brother, but Lin Yi is? Chu Mengyao frowned. Could it be that her best friend really likes Lin Yi? Now all she talks about is Lin Yi. She has been touched, looked at, kissed, and hugged by him, but she doesn't feel any bad feelings. Hey, Xiaoshu, won't she fall? Of course he is my biological brother. Although I admire him very much, he is too weak in front of women. If he is a little tougher, Miss Song will bow her head, Chen Yushu said with a nonchalant smile. Xiaoshu, you are also a girl. Do you want to be a husband-controlled woman in the future? Or do you have a tendency to be masochistic? Chu Mengyao thought to herself, as a girl, you speak for a man, how can it be reasonable? Oh, Sister Yao, I just want Brother Arrow to kill that Jianwen's arrogance tomorrow, Chen Yushu said. Oh, wrong, it's Brother Jianwen. Lin Yi ignored the two girls, yawned, turned around and went back to his room to sleep. Brother Arrow, I support you. Waiting for your good news tomorrow night, Chen Yushu shouted. Xiaoshu, you know Jianwen's family background, you are causing trouble for Lin Yi. Chu Mengyao frowned helplessly. He is not Zhong Pinliang, he is not someone Lin Yi can easily deal with. If you involve Lin Yi like this, what if something goes wrong? Although Chu Mengyao seemed indifferent to Lin Yi and even a little disgusted, she was not an unreasonable person. Moreover, she no longer hated Lin Yi living in this house, so she naturally would not cause him trouble. Although Daddy kept it a secret from her and did not tell her what Lin Yi had done in the past 2 days, Chu Mengyao still knew something about the crisis in Daddy's company. Lin Yi solved everything quietly and silently. How could she cause him more trouble? Sister Yao, are you heartbroken? Chen Yushu's dark eyebrows and eyes curved into crescents as she looked at Chu Mengyao with a smile. I'm heartbroken? Why should I be heartbroken? Chu Mengyao snorted. He's our follower. He's offended Jianwen. When Jianwen comes looking for trouble, we'll naturally have to protect him. So if you let him get into trouble, you'll be causing trouble for us. Oh, it's okay. I'll take care of it next time Brother Jianwen comes. Chen Yushu took the responsibility. She was quite good at dealing with Jianwen. Okay, let's go to bed first. Chu Mengyao yawned as well. It was already past 10 o'clock. Jianwen had been dawdling for over an hour, and Chu Mengyao was already dead sleepy. The next day, when Lin Yi saw Kang Xiaobo, the boy was ecstatic and excited. Boss, you're back. I was worried you wouldn't make it to my second grandfather's birthday party this weekend. No, I said 2 days, and it's 2 days. Today's only Thursday, isn't there still a few days left? By the way, is it Saturday or Sunday? Lin Yi asked. Sunday, but not on this city. We have to leave early on Saturday. My second grandfather's family is in Donghae City, the provincial capital, Kang Xiaobo said. Okay, let's leave Saturday afternoon, Lin Yi nodded. By the way, how is Ifan? She can be discharged. She was just too weak from malnutrition. I plan to go and get her discharged this afternoon, Kang Xiaobo said. My parents are going with me on Saturday. I'm not sure how to tell them about Ifan, and I'm not sure if they'll accept it. I don't think that matters. What matters is what you really think. Lin Yi waved his hand and asked, Xiaobo, do you really like Ifan? Tell me the truth. Kang Xiaobo hesitated. Nonsense. Why am I asking you if you're not telling the truth? Lin Yi glared at him. To be honest, at first, after seeing her photo, I was just attracted to her. After all, it's normal to have feelings for a beautiful girl and want to pursue her. Kang Xiaobo scratched his head sheepishly. Just like when I liked Tang Yun, Chu Mengyao, and Chen Yushu before, but I know it was just a fantasy. None of them could possibly like me. If it weren't for you, boss, I'm not sure if Tang Yun would even recognize me now. I liked Ifan. Initially, it was more out of sympathy. This girl was so pitiful and so endearing. So, I couldn't help but want to give her more care and love. But over time, I went to the hospital every day to accompany her, talk to her, and ate with her. Gradually, I got used to it. If I didn't see her for a day, I would miss her. I think I can confirm that I've fallen in love with her. Is it like or love? Lin Yi asked. Is there a difference? Kang Xiaobo shook his head, a little confused. Maybe there is a difference, Lin Yi sighed. He had also liked a girl before, the kind he really liked, and she was Xiaoning. Others say that for love, one can give everything and go through fire and water, so Lin Yi sometimes wondered whether his feelings for Xiaoning were not love or not. Why did he always think of her? Was it because the rules of the industry restricted him, and he had to abide by his professional ethics, or was it because he didn't have the courage to take that step? Or maybe it was all of the above. Or maybe it was because he simply couldn't give Xiaoning the life she wanted. At least, he couldn't give it to her at the beginning. But what about now? Lin Yi shook his head. Although he knew that escaping was not the way to solve the problem, since he had chosen to escape over the years, it was even more impossible for Lin Yi to take that step. Boss, I think love and liking are not important. The key is how do I tell my parents? Kang Xiaobo was a little embarrassed. My parents would not agree to me finding a girlfriend now, and Xiafen's situation is like this. What should I do? Chapter 350 Tang Yun Street. 2 ways. Kang Xiaobo's words brought Lin Yi back to reality. He shook his head, trying not to think about those things. At least the difference between his status and Xiaoning's was huge. Although he had 100 million and a stake in Pengzhan Group, it was nothing compared to Xiaoning's family background. What's the solution? Kang Xiaobo asked happily. First, tell them the truth and try to gain their understanding, Lin Yi said. I'm afraid that won't work, Kang Xiaobo said with a bitter face. If you can convince them, I won't worry. Second, don't tell them that Xiafen is your girlfriend. Say she's a classmate. I won't bring Tang Yun with me, and let Xiafen go with me. They shouldn't be suspicious, Lin Yi said. That's a good idea. But if Tang Yun doesn't go, can Xiafen go? Kang Xiaobo hesitated. That depends on how you tell Xiafen. Lin Yi patted Kang Xiaobo's shoulder. Let's go. Into the classroom. Zhong Pinliang seemed very depressed today. He already knew that his uncle had sadly left Pengzhan Group. He couldn't express how he felt about his uncle's failure. Was it disappointment, or something else? Zhong Pinliang found that he was even a little excited. Because subconsciously, he didn't want Chu Pengzhan's position to be taken away by his uncle. If that happened, even if he caught up with Chu Mengyao, the Zhong family would be nothing more than his uncle's appendage. Now, if he caught up with Chu Mengyao, the Zhong family would be on the verge of prosperity. Chu Mengyao was Chu Pengzhan's only daughter, and since he became his only son-in-law, how could he not transfer some of his shares to himself? So, thinking of his bright future, Zhong Pinliang was suddenly filled with hope and fighting spirit. But he didn't know where to start. He couldn't write a blood letter. Every time he wrote, he bled profusely. If this continued, he would lose too much blood and pass out. Gao Xiaofu didn't dare offer any rash suggestions this time. Zhong Pinliang asked him several times, but he vaguely said he'd think of a solution. So, the two of them fell into dejection again. It seemed they wouldn't bother Chu Mengyao again until they came up with a plan. During the last class of the morning, Lin Yi received a message from Tang Yun, asking what he was doing for lunch. Lin Yi texted back, saying he didn't have anything to do and asking if she had anything. A moment later, Tang Yun replied, let's go to the cafeteria together for lunch. Huh? Lin Yi smiled at the message. Tang Yun had finally opened up to him. She'd even invited him to dinner. While the gratitude for the 200,000 yuan yesterday was a factor, if Tang Yun hadn't truly accepted him, given her personality, she definitely wouldn't have asked him out. Tang Yun wanted to borrow money, and she was sure that if she asked, there would be plenty of wealthy secret admirers at school who would offer to help her. At noon, Kang Xiaobo went to the hospital to process Xiafen's discharge and mentioned a weekend birthday party. Lin Yi, at Tang Yun's invitation, had come to the shade of a tree near the playground. Tang Yun, too embarrassed to wait outside the school cafeteria, asked Lin Yi to wait there instead. This was their first date, not really a date, but Tang Yun held a special affection for it. It was there that Lin Yi took her hand and announced her as his woman in front of Zhu Ruming and the Dean of Academic Affairs, Wang Xixing. Tang Yun was nervous. Her meal card clutched in her hand, fidgeting. The 5th period of the morning was a test, and Tang Yun had handed in her paper and was waiting under the shade of a tree. She waited and waited, but Lin Yi didn't show up. She checked her phone. Could it be that Lin Yi had texted her and she hadn't received it? But that didn't seem likely. Just as she was getting anxious, she saw a boy running towards her. She smiled and waved to Lin Yi. In the past, Tang Yun would never have dared to act so boldly in school. The school rules were incredibly strict, but now, they were nothing to her. Wang Xixing hadn't even bothered to ask about her and Lin Yi's affairs, so what was she afraid of? Even Tang Yun had a little bit of a rebellious streak at heart. After years of being a good, obedient student, she finally felt like a bad student. Have you been waiting for a long time? Lin Yi saw a thin layer of sweat on Tang Yun's smooth forehead, clearly having been waiting for quite some time. There's no test in the last class, so I handed in my paper first, Tang Yun said shyly, smoothing her hair across her forehead. Then why didn't you text me? I'd come out a little earlier. Lin Yi was used to skipping classes now. The Dean of Academic Affairs had already given him a heads up, and the other teachers didn't bother with him, thinking he was some rich kid just killing time at school. It's okay, Tang Yun shook her head. I'll treat you to dinner. You treating me? Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun in surprise. Don't look at me like that. I can only treat you to dinner in the cafeteria. Tang Yun shyly raised her cafeteria meal card. All the money in the family went to Dad's surgery. While there might be some money left, there's no telling if we'll need it later. So, if you want me to treat you to a big meal, I'll have to wait until I earn some money myself. No, I have plenty of money on my cafeteria meal card. It's the same if I use mine. It'll just go to waste if I don't eat. Lin Yi pulled the meal card from his pocket and shoved it into Tang Yun's hand. How's Uncle's condition? Tang Jicheng's problem was a bone problem that required surgery. Although Lin Yi was an expert in acupuncture and prescription medicine, he couldn't possibly perform Tang Jicheng's surgery on his behalf. Why are you giving me your meal card? Tang Yun was stunned. My mother took my father to the hospital early in the morning, and he should be in the hospital now. But he has been checked regularly, and the only thing missing is surgery. I don't usually eat in the cafeteria, and if I eat in the future, I will eat with you, so I'll give you the card, Lin Yi said. Do you need any help with the hospital? Probably not. Tang Yun shook her head, her eyes slightly red. Lin Yi, thank you. I don't know how to thank you. Tang Yun was really touched. Lin Yi did not take the opportunity to threaten her, nor did he make any requests that made her embarrassed. Why are you saying this? Lin Yi took Tang Yun's hand. Let's go eat. Yeah. Tang Yun's little hand was caught by Lin Yi. She subconsciously wanted to dodge, but after hesitating for a while, she let Lin Yi hold her. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.